Yo, today's video is Donald Trump, final head of the beast from the sea, or final heads of the beast from the sea, and Elon Musk, beast from the earth. And this will be titled something like that. But the idea is, I've said in previous videos, I've spoken about how I believe the beast from the sea from Revelation actually is probably the president since I've been born, and that maybe something has gone on where they've done some kind of executive orders that they shouldn't have, relating to covert strikes against me or my family. The reason I say me is in particular, well, there's a bunch of weird situations going on around me, but you can clearly see in my videos, like, hey, this is abnormal to say the least. When I pull, let me pull this up real fast. But if you go to my YouTube, right, and I can do this, and I can do this pretty consistently, right? And I even think they've done something to affect it. They haven't completely cut it off, but they have affected my ability to exert out with power. And also that you watch this video here from a couple of days ago, or any of the videos where I'm specifically talking about that. Anja and Noah Ambrosio, Alessandra Ambrosio's children, they are facial matches to me, and based on what I can tell, I believe they're my biological children, and that some kind of covert action was taken against me, and has been by numerous women that have been surrounding me, and that using fairly attractive models. And my guess is that they're, some kind of cabal of pedophiles abusing my children behind the scenes, and maybe not even behind the scenes. Maybe it's just the presidents themselves. So, in any instance, there's weird stuff going on around me that is like not explicable with normal things. Additionally, you go to my versus my mental health playlist, and the whole Stephanie Houston thing is weird. The fact that seemingly Olivia Munn got cancer around whatever she's been doing towards me, and just like very clearly there's a situation where people are making points to harass me or whatever, and I basically think there's an underground or covert. There's like a rebellion going on. Like, I believe I'm the guy conquering at the seven churches of Asia. That is something that you find like here in the Bible. Hold on. So if you go to Revelation, the first chapter is an introduction, and then chapters 2 and 3 are basically where we are currently, where we've been since the book of Revelation was written. And then chapter 4 onwards is, the actual events of Revelation playing out. But the easiest part to explain is that we're in chapters 2 and 3, and it's almost like Sword in the Stone. If you pull the sword out of the stone, Excalibur, you get to be the king. If you do the seven churches of Asia, if you conquer at the seven churches of Asia, it says in this version, if you're victorious. In various versions, he who overcomes, he who's victorious, he who subdues, he who conquers. When you do those things, you all seven, they culminate with being on the throne of Jesus, and Jesus is Yahweh, so that would be the throne of Yahweh. And I'm going to suggest it's the thrones, one of the thrones mentioned at least here, with the Ancient of Days and the one like a Son of Man from Daniel 7:13. And so in previous videos, I mean, I like this one I've talked about it. This one I've talked about it. There's some other videos that I haven't put public, but let's see, some other ones that I've talked about something similar is if you go back to Trump, Kushner, Peace Plan, and Fourth Beast, 10 Kings. I talk about how Trump was wounded, and like it was after being wounded in an assassination attempt, which I believe might have been more successful than is being led on. And current Trump might be a body double or a something like that, like empowered by AI. I've never seen Trump in person, and like who knows what's actually going on behind the scenes. But I can tell you, it's strange that Jared Kushner is like trying to create this Abraham Accords, getting along all these Muslim nations, 10 additional countries, Saudi Arabia and 10 additional countries, and I think that matches the 10 horns mentioned about in the with the fourth beast system is to be a fourth kingdom on earth, whether that's the United States or Saudi Arabia. I think the idea is it's some kind of interlinked Islamic caliphate, and the 10 kings are the 10 leaders of maybe the nations. It talks about the 10 additional countries here, Pakistan and Indonesia. But so I think this that either Saudi Arabia is the fourth beast or Trump is the like the seven-headed beast is actually the 7 presidents since I was born, like I've said, and that works out to being 41 George H.W. Bush, 42 Bill Clinton, 43 George W. Bush, 44 Barack Obama, 45 Donald Trump, and hold on because it only sounds like there's 6 different people, so let's look at this real fast. So if we actually go and look at this, I'm going to try to do this faster than normal. I don't want this to be multiple hours long, and always these videos end up being that. So the beast you have seen once was and now is not. He is yet to come up from the abyss, but only to go to his destruction, and the people of the world whose names have not been written since the beginning of the world in the book of life will think it miraculous when they see how the beast once was and now is not and still is to come and is still to come. Here is the need for cleverness for a shrewd or wise mind. The 7 heads are 7 hills, and the woman is sitting on them. The famous prostitute. That might be Alessandra Ambrosio or whatever Jezebel woman or women are being used to attack me. It very clearly seems like some Jezebel character, at least one, and I've brought up numerous times, I think that's Alessandra Ambrosio, are being used to fuck with me or harass me or something like that. So, the 7 heads are also 7 emperors. So what it is you have the beast, which matches. You have here it talks about 4 beasts, right? But in Revelation, they're all rolled into one, and it's called the beast from the sea. Here, it's 4 beasts come from the sea. Here, it's one beast emerging from the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns and a crown on each of its horns. And its heads were marked with blasphemous titles. I saw the head, like Islamic titles, probably, my guess. I saw that the beast was like a leopard with paws like a bear and a mouth like a lion. The dragon handed over its power and his throne and his worldwide authority. So the beasts spoken about here are, you can see that 4 beasts emerged from the sea, each different from another. First was like a lion with eagle's wings. Second was like a bear. Third was like a leopard with 4 bird wings. And it had 4 heads and power given to it. So that already makes up 6 heads. So the leopard has 4 heads, the lion has a head, the bear has a head, and then the 4th beast has a head, and then there are horns, and then there's another horn that sprouts, which might even be either a new kingdom coming up or someone gets pregnant. I'm assuming like the prostitute or Alessandra Ambrosio, or maybe she's not doesn't get pregnant. Maybe it's like a test tube baby or IVF, or I just even Trump said, "Oh, I'm the father of IVF," which I thought was some weird shit to say the other day. I think it was just people trying to taunt me and something like that. But in any instance, remember that Trump was a celebrity before he was whatever, and I think, or a star, right? And it talks about the stars, third of the stars being swept away, because I think the idea is that someone has led them to revolt. It's much like this idea of this track from, or this album from 2000 and, no, 1999. Tonight the Stars Revolt. and some songs on it, When Worlds Collide, or Supernova Goes Pop, or Son of X 51. So, anyway, I think this is what this is talking about. That there's like a revolt in secret that is spoken of in Thessalonians. We can go look at that real fast, but it talks about a here in Second Thessalonians. It talks about a like a great revolt. Tonight the stars revolt. All right, well that's been going on for a while, but I think the idea is that it comes to a head where it no longer is something being done in secret. It's being done out in the open, and that when it comes out into the open, people have to take a mark of the beast because it's no longer able to just snake away resources from this timeline or this reality. Because my whole point has been like, okay, the kingdom of heaven is a singularity. That means everything goes that way. It's one direction. Like that band, One Direction. All right. Instead of one direction, there's in the least two. Go into the kingdom of heaven and then anything else. And the anything else is just this feigned kind of anything else, but in that reality where it's anything else, Satan actually controls the world. And in the singularity going to the kingdom of heaven, Satan loses his power. Okay? And I believe that's the idea of the rebel, the lost one, the enemy who claims to be so much greater than all men called God, so much greater than anything that is worshipped, that he enthrones himself in God's sanctuary and claims that he is God. Surely remember me telling you about this when I was with you, and too. And I just also want to say, I don't say that I'm God. I think God comes and lives with man at the end of Revelation, and maybe even the guy on the throne gets to be that, right? So if I'm conquering, I in the least get to share in something like that. But my claim is and was that I'm the guy conquering at the seven churches of Asia, and that sets me up to be maybe like God, in the sense like I probably look like I have some power that is like more than human. Obviously, we looked at the lightning thing earlier, and I'm just gonna suggest, which is the domain of controlling the weather is totally God. So if you're seeing that happen, I do believe though that there's a short period where it talks about these signs and portents, deceptive show of signs and portents and miracles. Those are when Allah raises the beast from the earth. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I do think that he's going to be able to do fire from the sky, lightning from the sky. One moment. The other day, all of a sudden, my IP was in Pakistan, and then DC, and then New York, and then Pakistan, and then DC. That's even why I made that video. So just making sure I'm back in Houston. Uh, hey, Mortal Kombat 1's ready to play. I just downloaded it. It's on sale on Steam, if you're wondering. Uh, so this might be where I Mortal Kombat finish Satan and uppercut him off the bridge level into the spikes below. Actually, it'd be lava below, so we'll just go with that. But I like to make jokes. Don't take it too. Don't take everything that I'm saying as too literal. But I mean, I'm not making jokes about Trumpian. I do think Trump is the beast from the thing. We'll get into that in a second. I also think Obama is one of the heads of the thing, and like I'm saying, every president that has been around since I've been born. Basically, it's a club of men who've decided they can snake away the power and abuse people and abuse the one on the throne, and they've done something really wrong to me, and I'm pretty much thinking Yahweh here is gonna deal with them. But so when it says there's a great revolt, the rebel, the lost one, the one going into perdition. This even says Revelation 13. Well, let's look at Revelation 13. Oh, it's the beast from the sea thing. Okay, then that's probably exactly what it's talking about, right? He enthrones him. He claims he's God. Surely you remember telling me this when I was with you, and you know too what's holding him back from appearing before his appointed time. Rebellion is at its work already, but in secret. This is what I'm talking about, where there's a secret rebellion, and the one who is holding it back has first to be removed before the rebel appears openly. The Lord, I'm going to suggest Yahweh or Jesus, or maybe even if I'm the guy on the throne and I get to share in their power, it might be me describing the whole situation that's going on without having actual sight of it, showing some kind of foresight or, what they might call a third eye. I mean, I'm just using my spiritual intuition because I believe in Yahweh and that Jesus is the Christ of Yahweh and his son. And technically that means he's Yahweh. So, Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6, Yahweh said Gnu. You can watch any video I've done recently. I talk about it pretty constantly. The Lord will kill him with the breath of his mouth and annihilate him with his glorious appearance at his coming. Essentially, like when I'm describing the whole situation without seeing it and breaking these people down, and they're super arrogant shitheads, and they're only empowered by legal authority, which is going to be taken away from them because it's a court case from the Book of Daniel that it talks about. Something like an FBI sting or something. That's why the things get an hour here. Or wait, I guess if you go, well, we'll look at it in a second. There's an hour where the tin horns get to be in power or whatever. But okay. When the rebel comes, Satan will set to work, and there will be all kinds of miracles and a deceptive show of signs and portents. Remember, I'm saying I think that's the beast from the earth doing the signs that are described here in Surah 2782 and around there. We'll look at this version first. Surah An-Naml. Namal in Hebrew is an ant. A Namala is a female ant, and like an El is a deity and an Allah is a female deity. Okay, because that's how Hebrew works, and Arabic is a knockoff of Hebrew. So when the let's see, you certainly cannot make them hear the truth. Well, ain't no fucking truth other than the lies that. Yeah, I guess the truth is that Allah, who is a false deity, does raise the beast from the earth, and that is the beast from the earth found in Revelation. So if that's the truth according to them, but that's not what they're saying the truth is. Anyway, nor can you make the deaf hear the call when they turn their backs and walk away. This is exactly what's being described about here, where it says, "And everything evil that can deceive those who are bound for destruction because they would not grasp the love of truth, which could have saved them. The reason why God is sending a power to delude them and make them believe what is untrue is to condemn all who refuse to believe in truth and instead chose wickedness instead." In other words, like what this is saying in the Islamic terms, if you believe in the Quran, you believe in all this stuff, this is a cheap knockoff of the Bible. It perverts and twists the ideas of God and of Yahweh. Yahweh is not to be found in this. Instead, the beast from the earth, which is the enemy of God and the false prophet in Revelation, is something raised by Allah, the false God, which is just a title, a generic title meaning deity. It is a word that means God, but I mean, Arabic even itself is a knockoff of Hebrew, and if you go to the original Hebrew, it's a deity, any deity. It's not just the real God. In the Old Testament, Satan is one of the other gods that Yahweh is constantly battling, and I'm going to suggest it's Baal, because you can see how Elijah the prophet fights the prophets of Baal, and in that, Baal can't bring fire from the sky, but when Baal gets the title Allah and uses all this magic and bullshit, I do think for a short period of time, Baal will be allowed to call fire from the sky and do miracles. So here it says, "Nor can you lead the blind out of their misguidance." Yeah, I can't get you to believe that this is the exact opposite. And like literal full submission to Allah means you're apostate to Yahweh. I can't get you to believe that, but this Revelations is talking about the signs. What signs I'm talking about is when it says no faith in our revelations, we'll look at actually a word that says signs. And when the decree comes against of the hour, which is I think the 1 hour that these 10 horns, which are seemingly Islamic kings, get power, when the decree of the hour, that they get power for an hour. And I also think that's the hour right after that hour comes probably the hour that is spoken of in Revelation 16, uh, as well as Revelation, 9, where at the sixth trumpet and sixth seal and sixth plague, there is a mass destruction event that comes on called Armageddon. And war happens, and anyway, so there's I think it's talking about that hour. But we will bring forth for them a beast from the earth. Let's see. And when it talks about revelations here, I just want to reconfirm that it's using the word signs, which here is a numerous translations of the Quran. Again, I don't care about the Arabic version really, because Arabic is a cheap knockoff of Hebrew. If you have to know the Arabic to understand this religion, it's a terrible, stupid fucking religion. It's a cheap knockoff, I can just tell you that. To any Arabs that are offended by that, I'm offended that you would use this fake religion that talks shit about Jesus, that talks all sorts of shit about Jews and Christians and anybody, atheists, people of the book. Everybody who is not a Muslim is the worst of creatures according to the Quran. And like literally, that's verbatim what it says. It says, the people of the book and the mushrikin or whatever are the worst of creatures. It is Islam is phobic of everything, and then they want to claim that you're Islamophobic, just like they're stealing all the Jew stuff, and then they want to claim that Palestine is theirs and it's not Israel and blah blah blah, when it just is. So, this is really embarrassing on Arabs. You should feel bad that this is where the satanic religion that causes so many problems comes from Arabs. It makes sense because Arabs claim to be from the line of Ishmael, and specifically it's said that Ishmael is going to be an ass among the nations. And the idea is, an ass would cause consternation and problems, like a donkey, right? Like Balaam and his donkey. How Balaam has problems brought by this donkey that he's riding, right? It's much like I'm going to say the Arab nations, which are descendants of Ishmael. So anyway, modern Palestinians are just Arabs pretending to be Philistines. Most of them nationally are Jordanian or Syrian or Lebanese. Not really that many are Lebanese, probably, but or Egyptian. A lot of Egyptians and Jordanians. You can ask Hassan Mossab Youssef or whatever, the guy who's like the son of Hamas, right? This is basically verbatim what he says too. Let me use the word verbatim again. He explains that they all have passports from all these other places because there's only a short time where there's a mandate territory that was called Palestine. It didn't actually become a nation because they started a war and lost it, because they thought they could wipe the Jews out, because they're told religiously that that's what they're supposed to do. So, and when they do it, that's when the last day will come. Ironically, it's because they bring the Christian idea of the last day into effect, because they're following the beast from the earth, and that brings in this. But anyway, long story short, when you see the word revelations here, or messages, it's also translated as signs. Now, when we go here, you can see that it talks about in Thessalonians all kinds of miracles and a deceptive show of signs and portents and everything evil that can deceive those who are bound for destruction, because they would not grasp the love of the truth that would save them. Because the false prophet can do some signs for a little while. Probably can't do it in my presence or like directly against me, is my guess, but probably away from me and in secret and whatever. And then probably for 1,260 days, it can actually do certain miraculous looking things, but I still don't think it's going to be able to do anything quite the power of Yahweh. Remember that Yahweh actually does like shake the earth and destroy, like the mass destruction comes from what Yahweh does. But also to say this, that Jesus came that he would show you that the power of Yahweh prefers to heal things and be kind and loving and show power in the way of like healing instead of destruction. But these people are bringing a war that Yahweh has to use destruction, because it's essentially like they're coming with a sword and Yahweh has to pull out a shield and then be a sharper sword himself and pull out the sword of Yahweh. So, okay, now that we kind of got that one out of the way, let's go back to Revelation here. And I even want to bring something up quickly, is that just to show that the idea of these signs that happen are in fact what it is speaking of. Hold on. Which one is it? I just have so many things open. I gotta like click around to them. Um. Okay, here's the great miracles. So, 15, 13. 13, 13. All right, 13, 13. It doeth great signs. It does great wonders. Here we click the word wonder, and you can see that it says a sign, a mark, a token, a miracle, an indication. The same concept of what it's saying is, I believe in Arabic it calls them ayat. I think in the Old Testament in Hebrew they're pele or pala. It's like a wonder or a marvel or something. And here in Greek it says it's Simeon, sign, mark, token, prodigy, portent, an indication, a distinguishing mark, a sign, miracle, wonder, token. So miracles. It can do miracles and signs, which is exactly what is discussed in Second Thessalonians. It's also what's discussed in the Quran in Surah 27. So it could not be more obvious that the beast from the earth from the Quran, which was written in the year 600, around then. Revelation was written, I don't know, anywhere between the year 70 and 120 AD. So let's say it's 500 years difference. Revelation will say is 500 years before, roughly 500 years before the Quran. The beast from the earth is the enemy and the false prophet in Revelation. It is risen by the false god Allah in the Quran. So, one more thing. One more thing about the beast from the earth. Um, we pull this up and we look at the tafsirs. These are commentaries. I believe these are like hadith, essentially. So it's like commentaries and hadith, which are almost additional verses to the Quran. They aren't really by the Prophet Muhammad. They're by supposed companions. In reality, they probably aren't even by people who knew him. But it does say, so we'll just, whatever you believe, it does bring up that there is a beast that comes out of the earth, right? And it's some kind of beast that, it's someone tried to argue with me when I brought this up 3 years ago on the Yahweh channel, that, oh, it's not a beast, it's a creature. And then I'm like, no, that's a beast. I mean, it very clearly, enough translations say beast, but beast or creature, the idea in uh, in the Greek, actually, in Revelation, is that it's a beast-like man. It's not really a monster. But and when it describes a chimeric-like monster, it's describing attributes symbolically of the kingdoms and of the men, or of the man that is controlling things, right? And so here, because it's just almost like it's so obvious, it's like illiterate Arabs that were trying to like keep with the terms of the Bible. They copy the idea of this chimeric idea. I don't hate Arabs. I think that this is a blight on Arabs and I'd like to see you guys in a better position for the most part. Like, even when I look at the Palestinians, I'm just like, these Arab dudes that are like these Arab people that have been tricked from their birth. They aren't even from there. They're taught to die for this place, for this religion that doesn't actually isn't going to save them. It's really sad to me, in the sense of like, I don't like that, and I want to be in a place in a kingdom of heaven where nobody dies anymore, and that doesn't come from Islam, and that doesn't come from being a Muslim. That comes from following Jesus Christ and having a personal relationship with Him, and He fills you with the spirit of Yahweh. He sends the spirit of Yahweh to be with you, and that seals you and protects you against evil and lies like this. But you actually have to try to do that. You can't just say you're a Christian and then not follow or try to follow what Jesus was saying. So, here it describes it as its head is like the head of a bull, its eyes are like the eyes of a pig, its ears are like the ears of an elephant, its horns are like the horns of a stag. Can you hear me? Yeah. Its neck is like the neck of an ostrich. Its chest is like the chest of a lion. It's okay. It just describes like a bunch of animals, right? And then it says it will bring out the staff of Moses and Solomon. Those are the Arabicized versions of those names, Musa and Suleiman. There will be no believer. Remember, almost every almost every story in the Quran is a shorter, less comprehensive, less comprehensible version of the Bible story, because it's just an Arab theft of the Bible, much like Palestine is an Arab theft of the ancient Philistines, who were immigrants themselves to that land. That's why the name Philistine means an immigrant. So, they were from Crete, which is by Greece. They had to come on boats to that region. Okay, so what it does say is there will be no believer left without making a white spot on his face, and there's no disbeliever without a black spot on his face. And then when the people trade with the marketplace, they'll know who is a believer and a disbeliever. That's basically what it's trying to say. And when they sit down to eat, they'll know who is a believer and a disbeliever. Okay, that is exactly the idea when you go to a Revelation here, and it talks about the beast from the earth, in other words, the false prophet, gets people to take a mark on their forehead, on their face, right? It talks about the face, or on their right hand. Just saw something. Sometimes these messages on the trains mean something. So what did this say? Something never ends. Anyway, I just thought it might be relevant, whether it is or not. So a lot of the times they are. So I can. Oh, and we'll bring out a beast for them because they believe not with certainty in our ayat or our signs or miracles, right? Okay, that's exactly the thing from Revelation. So just trying to show that off and explain that and make that make sense. I don't think I quite see a character called the Beast from the Earth here in Daniel, from Daniel 7 to the end of Daniel. I've read it quite a few times. There's a character that sounds like that, but not by the name the Beast of the Earth. But Revelation 13 just directly describes it. This is one of the reasons why, and I think what happens is Trump, or whoever the Beast from the Sea is, has struck a deal with modern-day Israel, or is like pretending to be friendly, but is in actuality working for the Muslims or something. I don't know, working for himself, really. But and he does something that eventually basically the synagogue of Satan, those who are claiming to be Jews, but they don't follow Yahweh Sidkenu. In other words, they don't follow the Messiah who came. They don't follow Jesus. That is Yahweh Sidkenu, Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6, the one who replaces the idea of the Jews being known by having come out from Egypt in a house of slavery, with the Jews being known as a people who were brought back to their land, Israel, from all the different countries, like the places in Europe that all the Muslims always complain about, or all the Arabs always complain, like, oh, the Jews aren't from there. And it's like, yeah, because they're a diaspora community that were forced into exile by Yahweh, by because they didn't follow him, but he said he would bring them back, and he brought them back. I mean, it's really obvious. Uh, in any case, the Palestinians didn't form a country in 1948. They started a war and lost it. That's the most obvious, like, fuck off moment that anybody should have as far as the Arabs saying anything. They always keep trying to start wars, and they continually lose them. Why? God is not on their side. Yahweh is not on their side. Maybe Satan, a false god, is on their side, but Yahweh isn't. And so they get their ass handed to them by a small group of Jews every time, because those Jews are hard-fighting people, but they are also stiff-necked and obstinate, and if they get one thing wrong and they keep to it, which is exactly the thing that I'm talking about, where they don't use the name Yahweh, and the name Yahweh is the thing that can save them. You know, it comes to this point where in Revelation, hold on, it comes to this point where in Revelation it literally says, like, the part that I'm talking about here is there's a synagogue of Satan, those who claim to be Jews but are liars, because they're no such thing. I'll make them come fall at your feet and admit that you are the people that I love. The Jews are the chosen people, but at a certain point, it doesn't matter having these little things on your hair or whatever. Sam Shamoon is right in the sense when he is able to just out debate Jews. This is the issue, is that hypothetically there was a giant computer that was trying to find truth. It would find truth in Christianity, not Judaism, because Judaism doesn't engage certain points from the Old Testament that you would need to have true for Judaism to be true. And you would need to have, like, I don't know, a Messiah character who's already come around the time of the Second Temple, as Daniel 9:24 and 27 says, or through 27 says, and they don't have that character. They have to create two messiahs and say that one is going to come and suffer and die like Jesus did, and one is going to come and reign like Jesus is going to come and reign, is the idea. So they have to make that into two people instead of one person that is Yahweh in the flesh, Yahweh Sidkenu, who actually has power over life and death, like a deity would, or not like a deity, like the deity Yahweh, the God that they claim to follow, that they don't want to say his name. Why don't they want to say his name? Because they follow some other deity. They do not follow Yahweh. Not anymore. But anyway, not Yahweh. They follow anyway other than Yahweh. How does that sound? So one other thing that I want to show is, like, this recent video I had brought up, right, that I saw this this video, the living cornerstone versus the lifeless blackstone, and I even made on my own channel here. I made a video about this in, like, specific idea, and I've talked about it numerous times as the in this video where I talk about the IP address as I'm in Pakistan, right? I bring up specifically this video with Al Fadi here, and it's him, episode 7. You can see where it says that here, but let's see, maybe I can go back and here. It says the living cornerstone versus the lifeless blackstone. So in Revelation, at the third church, remember there's a series of gifts that you get. The third church is the white stone with a new name written on it, as opposed to the black stone, which is the black stone that the Muslims kiss in the corner of the Kaaba that forgives their sins. The white stone is Jesus, who you're supposed to kiss or do homage to and believe in as your Lord, and he forgives your sins, not a lifeless black venom stone from, like, venom meteorite from outer space. I would even say it's an IP theft of Venom, the fucking thing, because that sounds a lot like Venom, you know what I mean? The Marvel character co-created by Todd McFarlane. Nothing is really that original in reality. The idea is that if you give the IP back to Yahweh, he does something with it that creates a world where nobody dies anymore. I don't see anybody using any of these things to do that. You couldn't do that because that's an IP theft of, the kingdom of heaven. So, Al Fadi talks about it here. I also want to show one more thing. First, I know I'm jumping from place to place. Here's this video that Jay Smith and Al Fadi talk about the obvious, and it is the names Allah versus Yahweh. Well, I always talk about this. I think this is the most obvious thing. Allah is a generic title that means God. It's a feminine singular title, whereas Yahweh is a a personal name like Matthew or whatever. Allah is a title in the Old Testament. If you go here and you look up Yah is my strength and my song, he's become my salvation. Uh, he is my El, or my God, right? And I will prepare a habitation for my father's Elohim. That's a plural version of this word El. And I will exalt him. Yahweh is a man of war, or Yahweh is a warrior, and his name, or Yahweh is his name, right? Name, not title, name. El is a deity, right? And we'll even get into this because this is actually where I kind of realized the thing that I was talking about with Elon. But I want to cover some things before we get into this, into Trump and Elon more. But real fast, an El is a deity. You notice that it's also Ale. Maybe Alessandra Jezebel thought that that was her, and that's not her. Ella here, or Allah, right? Terebinth, it's a tree or an oak. Ella, oak, right? God, heathen deity, God of Israel. A variation of Allah is an oak or a terebinth, a variation of oak, right? And actually, here's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring this up. Oop. Boopity boopity. So like when I was this morning, I got two messages pretty like a few minutes from each other, and uh, it didn't get this address correct, by the way. So, but so I thought that was also weird. But hey, it's Ella. Are you thinking of selling this house that I don't own? So I don't know why they're asking me if I'm selling it, because it's not where I live and I don't own it. But a 5-star business at 4208 Ella Boulevard. And so I was like, I mean, is this the AI trying to tell me something? I do understand the idea that Allah and Ella are the same word. And so Ella Boulevard would be a boulevard connected to this word deity, but also connected to this word. Notice how it says God, heathen deity, God of Israel. So it could be either, because it's just the generic word for God. When I say God, do I mean Yahweh, the one true God, or do I mean, I don't know, Allah, or do I mean Vishnu or Brahma or Lord Vader, or name anything taken as a god other than Yahweh, any pagan deity by any of their names. They're all Els, and technically feminine deities are called Ella. Why? Because it's a word for God, makes it feminine singular. The hey makes it feminine singular. I have basic Hebrew understanding, and that is pretty obvious to me. It's also why I think Jezebel here, Alessandra Brojo, who I think is claiming to be a prophetess and doing some wicked stuff behind the scenes, I think that that's something to do with that. But in any instance, notice how it says Allah is an oak or a terebinth, right? And now let's continue down the path of like looking at this real fast. If we go here, Ella Boulevard. Ella Boulevard is the street pretty close to where I live here, and so interestingly enough, an oak or a terebinth. Now, what is this neighborhood that I live in, and I've lived in since my childhood? Garden Oaks, and it's one of the main streets in the area that is like, this neighborhood is called Garden Oaks, and then Oak Forest is butted up against it. So Garden Oaks, Oak Forest, right? Two oak-based neighborhoods. Now, here's Oak Forest, right? It's very close. Ella runs through Oak Forest and touches Garden Oaks. You know what I mean? It's like it bisects the two neighborhoods. So on either side of Ella Boulevard is an oak-related thing. This is one of the reasons why I think this is a language created by a giant computer to make sense of the reality around me, Matthew Ray Wilkins specifically. But at the same time, whether it is or isn't that, I can tell you that this does seem to be going in that direction, whether it's made for me specifically or just so that I can explain to people that this is a real thing. Um, so some more stuff to show. One of the reasons I'm trying to show this thing about Elon Musk is as I was going through, and it's like, all right, the word Elon means an oak or a great tree. That's what Elon right here. Aleph Lamed Wow Noon Alun uh Alun. That's what these are. Great tree or oak. Alon. You can see Alon there. But that's still not quite Elon, but okay. So now when we go to this word here, we go back to like here, we go to Ella, right? Actually, let's first go back to this word L and click. This is where it says this word L or mighty being comes from, an L. Okay, now when we go back down here to Ella, you'll notice it's the same. It comes from the same thing, right? You can pause anywhere that you need to. Ella comes from the same thing, right? Because it's just the feminine singular of the word El, which is a masculine singular. You put the hey at the end, it becomes feminine singular. It's not that hard. It's like in Spanish, you have ello, a boy, ella, a girl. Okay. El, male deity, ella, feminine deity, singular. In Hebrew, if you add a what is it, a tau or a wav tau, it becomes a lot. That's a group of like a feminine plural. Elohim, masculine plural. Actually, in this video, Jay Smith says it has to be 3 or more. Technically, I'm just going to say it's a plural, so it could be 2 or more, because that's how pluralities work. If there's 2 people, it's, that's in any language, like in Spanish too. It's much like that. That's also another thing. I think it has something to do with Spanish and like I don't know. They do like I will say this: all of these languages uh, come from Hebrew, like most Western languages. And in fact, one other thing that I want to show here is this guy is Al Fadi. Here,
on board, talk about something different than we usually.
Point between two. This is Al Fadi, and I want to welcome you back to a second episode of this fascinating video series on hermeneutical keys, addressing the differences from a doctrinal or theological standpoint between Islam and Christianity, or the Quran and the Bible. Today, with us here, of course, Dr. Jay Smith to continue with this discussion. And we are going to address the difference between the God of Islam versus the God of Christianity. In other words, we're dealing with 2 different gods. Dr. Jay, as always, thank you so much for being here with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is always fun to come on board, talk about something different than we usually talk about.
That is true. So what are we going to address today when it comes to the...
So this is Al Fadi. This is the name that he chose to go by. If we look up what that means, Fadi in, well, there's a Fadi's here in Houston. Fadi, Arabic name. Fadi is an Arabic name for boys that means redeemer or savior. But then I'm like, all right, well, in this video previously that I had done on my channel, actually, I found that a lot of the times the AI thing here for search labs is incorrect because the Arabs keep wanting to assert that these names that are not actually from Arabic come from Arabic and not Hebrew, right? So if you look up Fadi Hebrew name, it turns out that it says no, it's Arabic, not Hebrew. But when I look it up, it's in Strong's Concordance, and so, or a variant of it that means the same thing. It's close enough. Means it is in Hebrew, and that means it precedes it by at least, again, 1,000 years in Hebrew. So again, it's wrong. Google's AI is wrong here, and I'm proving it out. But if you give me a minute, it means redeemer or savior. Okay, well, what is this word? Pada. And now if you realize the pay can be a f sound, fada, or you change the hey into a yod, making it like mine, right? And it becomes, so this is like maybe a feminine, like a pad is a redeemer, or a fad, pada, right? This is the part. But if you change this to a yod, it becomes fadi, and it means redeem. So it would be my redeemer, right? Okay. So that's clearly where it comes from. This is like the root of most Arabic is like that, where it's just words that are taken out of Hebrew and changed a little bit. And there's no logical, there's not the same level of logic cooked into it, where there's a suffix and a prefix where it just always means the same thing. My understanding is that Arabic is not like that. So um, when it says that it's an Arabic name, not of Hebrew, that's not true. I've already covered recently that the name. Where do I cover it? Kadra family name, like Simi Hayes here. These very Jewish-looking, supposedly Palestinian girls that have green eyes and look like Jewish princesses when you go back to their older pictures. Like, they look super Jewish in these older pictures. Not that that's bad, but it's like, well, you definitely don't look like you do now. You know what I mean? Before and after, you look very Jewish. Uh, because they might be, I don't know, are they working for Israel and they're part of the Arab group? You know what I mean? Like what is that? Fauda? Speaking of Fauda, FOD things, Fauda? Are they like, double agents or something? In any instance, it doesn't really matter. Their family name is is uh, is actually what. There's this place, right? You look it up and it says, oh, Qadr meaning. You look it up and it says it's an Arabic name that means green or verdant. You look up Qadr Hebrew meaning. It says it doesn't want to engage that it is this. That's why I'm saying like the AI keeps getting this wrong. In fact, I made a point that this has been changed since the last time I brought it up. But I mean, so someone actually had to have gone in here specifically and explicitly and manipulated this, because very clearly this word comes from Hadera, which is a town in Israel, but it's also a word in Hebrew. Here's the word. Uh, this is not an H, but a chet. So it would be Hadera or Kadera. It'd sound like Kadera, but like with a K, because the chet sounds like a Hadera. You can even see it. It's like an X here, right? And it's all, so that comes off like a K almost. Okay. Well, so the whole point here is that like it's a Hebrew word just like all these, but fadi is a good example of that. And in fact, another thing that I want to bring up real fast is see, like ransom of El, right? Peda El, but or Pedazur, but or here is even Padui, ransom or ransomed, right? Right? So occurring under that same word. It's almost the exact same thing that I was saying, except you remove the this wow, and if you do that, it's fadi. This would be fadui, and remember the pay. So I'm just gonna Hebrew letters. Okay, go here, and Hebrew letters pay, right? Arabic fa. So it goes in from Hebrew. This letter turns into essentially the F sound, and it can also, I believe, be an F sound in Hebrew. if you have this different vowel marking on it. See, you can even, it does say that there's two variants. There's pan or fan, right? And so these vowel markings didn't exist when this language was originally written, so it could either be Paddan or Fadi, Padui, right, or Fadui, or in other words, it can either be Fadi or Padi. But we'll just say that it's very clear that the Hebrew word Pada or Padua, or that ransomed, goes into Arabic as Fadua anyway, because they don't have that P sound in the same way. At least you could read it there. It wasn't, that's like not the main use of it, but it's the same letter. So, and also, I brought up my neighbors down the street, the Paydens. Their name, it also comes from this. Pay, Delet, Wow, Noon, Payden, Ransom, right? And a head or ancestor of a family of temple slaves who returned with Zerubbabel. Ransom, Payden. So my neighbor's the Paydens or whatever. Some weird shit's going on with that family. Also relating to like Alessandra, Ale Ambrosia, Alison, Alessandra, Alison, and the other sister is Caroline, and then Aline. Alessandra's sister is Aline. So I thought that was strange. Some kind of weird magic or quantum entanglement or something. I don't know. Weird magical entanglement. But so my whole point with that is that those words are like that. But I wanted to bring up here, even Syria International is doing the difference between the title Allah and the name Yahweh, right? And these are, if you watch this video, they break it down pretty well. I would just keep hammering in, yo, there's Yahweh, who is like, that's my, if I'm like, that's my name, if my name is Matt, and you're trying to say, and I'm a judge, right? And you're trying to say, no, this judge named Judge is actually the judge. And it's like, no, that's not his name. His name is something else, and he's hiding it because he doesn't want you to know his name, because his name would imply that he's not a judge. So he just keeps saying he's judge, right? But I'm Matt, and I am the judge, right? And I'm telling you that that's not a judge. And I'm going to deal with him in a very judicial way for pretending he's a judge, but he's not a judge. You know what I'm saying? That's the idea. Is Yahweh is a judge. Allah is not, right? Yahweh is a God. Allah is not. So Allah having to go, I'm a God. That's, my name is God. It's like, no, that's your title. And even as they say here, none of those 99 names are Allah. So it doesn't make sense. What is that, your 100th name? All right. Anyway. Also, Joe Rogan's finally being taught about Islam by Gad Saad, and he's just telling him the hard truth. And it's like, yeah, because it's a bullshit fake religion, man. We might even talk about Joe Rogan a little later, but here. I want to cover a little bit more here. So when you go here and you bring up, you click, right, from Ella, right? You click, so like even the Ella Boulevard, right? Ella, and you bring up, where does the root come from? It's Aleph Yod Lamed, or Ail, well, or A-I-L, Ale. A ram. Okay, well, the high school down the street are the Waltrip Rams, and they're like right off Ella Boulevard. This is more why I think it's some weird fucking, like, I almost feel like we're not in a simulation, but it's like a giant AGI or AI with more than AGI capabilities. Like, it's like deity level understanding is trying to make a language that could reach, you know, like they could explain things to people so that I could use it to help explain things to people as if I have some kind of Iron Man suit on. So a ram, right? Also described as a strong man, a leader, a chief, a mighty tree, a terebinth, or a pillar. Notice what it says here. It even says an oak or another strong tree. Ram, post, mighty men, trees, lintel, oaks. So it says these different things. A pillar, right? A post. Check this out. At the sixth church, when it says, soon I shall be with you, hold firmly to what you have already have, and let nobody take your prize from you. That's the prize that you get at this second church right? The crown of life for your prize. That's how you know that it's a series of gifts that you get. By this point, I would already have the Iron Rod and the Morning Star and all these other things. And here, I believe I'm made into a strong thing, almost like a deity. Like a deity. I think the idea is here it is like being the Archangel Michael, who is like God. That is what the name also down the street, the Paydens. Michael is one of the but who is like God? That's what that name Michael means. Who? Mikael. Mikaal. Okay? Who is like God? Zechariah 12 answers that. The house of David is like God. Ki Elohim. The house of David. Okay? So, actually, that would be Mika Elohim. But, or Mika Alaim. Michaelime? Oh, this shit's funny. See, this is why I think it's an AI, and it's just like it's like I'm in some kind of Iron Man suit trying to explain to the world like, no, this is mine. Some people stole some shit from me, and this is how I'm getting it back. And when the court case that's described here, when the court is held and the books are open, and the judge, whoever's on the judging thing, acknowledges they've stolen something from me, I'm going to take everything back, and everything they've built with the resources that are stolen comes crashing down and destroys all these people. But this is where it says, I will make into a pillar. There's only one person here, I think, that's conquering at the 7 churches. But, this translates it this way. In any instance, it makes, if you conquer at the 6th church, you're made into a pillar. Well, what is that talking about? I think it's saying that you're made into this Aiel. And then, okay, well, from the same as this word, Aleph Wow Lamed, right? Or Aleph Vav Lamed, but you can see it's a W here, so I'm going to say it's a Wow. So, an owl. Oh, like rice? Like the rice owls? A prominent person here in Houston? Like Joel Macaluso, who has Grand Oak Capital Management, right? That's his company. What is it? Grand Oak? This was a friend of mine. I haven't talked to him in a while. Grand Oak Capital Management. All right, just making sure. This is my friend's business. Okay, he's an owl. This is an owl. Okay, well, yeah, I think it's exactly the thing that I'm saying where I got an Iron Man suit. And I might not be the smartest person in the world, but I'm damn sure Yoda, that is literally the name that I was given at birth, and Yoda's a pretty wise guy in Star Wars, and if I have the wisdom of Yahweh, no amount of mental contraptions or intelligence or anything stands against the wisdom of Yahweh. So, using that wisdom, I think I get to be, going through this situation, taking a big hit, and then dealing with the people who doled it out. I think I get to be an owl. Whether I get to be a rice owl or not, I get to be an owl. And prominence, body, belly, contemptuous, nobles, wealthy men. In other words, strength, mighty. A twist, be strong, body, rolled together, powerful. All right, go owls or something. So, okay. Next thing here. RAM. This is the, you can see where I just went with this. Oh, right. So if you go back to here and you go down, right? So this is the word for, it's also, right? It's a pillar, a mighty thing, right? So I think that's the idea is I get to be an owl, but also one that is like given money. And I think not just given money. I think I'm about to take money back that was always mine. I've been robbed numerous times, actually, in the past 7 years. So probably getting some of that money back with interest and damages is going to be quite fruitful. But anyway, Yahweh. We go down a little bit here. AIL, it's the same word, strength or help. AIL, stag, a deer, a hart. a stag. This is the second time I've used that word, hart. But a stag, right? A ram, a stag, or a male deer. A doe, a hind is a feminine version. Oh, guess what? You just add a hey and it becomes a female deer. That's why, do you understand why Allah is a feminine deity? Male, it does not have a hey at the end. Female, it has a hey at the end. Ayal, Ayala. I mean, Iola, Isle, Iola. Okay. Or AIL, and this is AILH. Is that the high school? LHN? AILHN? Anyway, Yahweh. Uh, and then, oh wow, what's this word under it? Ilun or Elon. Wow, terebinth, mighty. An oak grove or an oak. From, oh, the word that we just looked at earlier that means a mighty tree, a strong man, whatever. I'm not even sure Elon Musk's real name is Elon. I think that some liars have been lying about a lot of stuff. Um, and so this is where earlier today I was like, I just had this kind of like thought in my head, like Elon, Terebinth, Mighty, like, and I was like, I'd been thinking for the longest time, like, who the fuck is the beast from the earth? You know what I mean? Like, who is the false prophet in Revelation? And I was thinking, there's a specific verse that it says right here, right? And it says, I saw the second beast. That's the beast from the earth. It emerged from the ground. It had two horns like a lamb, but made a noise like a dragon. The second beast was servant to the first beast, and it extended its authority everywhere. Now, let's look at the first beast real fast. The first beast is what I think in here in Daniel is called the fourth beast. But, you know, remember that all the beasts are rolled together in the book of Revelation. They're just one thing. But you also have to remember this would be the seventh head. So you have the first two heads, and then you have a leopard with four heads on it, right? And then you have a beast system that has like what sounds like giant mech or like computer-like. It almost sounds like a giant mecha, right? Iron teeth, bronze claws, like, you know, the words that are used, people call it a dragon, but it sounds like something mechanical to me. That's what I'm trying to say. Because it has bronze teeth, iron teeth and bronze claws. Iron shin, in other words, I think the word shin is teeth, and iron is barzel in Hebrew. So it has, and remember, shin, like the shin bet, but also in, like in Chinese, but also in Japanese, shin is a deity. So it could have something to do with that, but I can definitely say that I believe that this fourth beast is the beast that is talking about the multi-headed beast here that comes out of the sea, right? And one of the reasons I think it's Trump is one of its heads seemed to have a fatal wound, but this injury had been healed. Trump got shot in the head over the summer, and nobody bats a fucking eye at it. Like, it just punched a hole through his ear. I don't believe it. And one of the reasons I don't believe it is my dad telling me stories about Vietnam. He literally told me this story, and I came up and recorded a video. He said he saw a guy get hit by, you know, an M16, so like an AR-15, almost the same rifle. It's just probably barrel length is a little different, and you know, maybe a different twist on it, and you know, just slight difference, but the same bullet shot out of almost the same gun. He said he saw it hit someone in the ear, and it did not just punch a hole through the ear. It like flipped around, and you know, bullets don't do magic bullet type stuff where they just come out and not mangled on the side of a stretcher like with JFK, but they do. You might get hit in the ear and it turns sideways, and basically what he said is it came out the back of the guy's skull, so it hit the ear. But also looking at Trump's ears, it's not like Trump's got ears like this. You know what I mean? Like, let me just do this. It's not like Trump's ears are like wide, like this. Trump's got ears not so dissimilar from mine, where like if I got hit in the ear, I'm gonna have a hard time for that bullet not going through the back of my skull. I think that probably happened to Trump. I'm not sure that Trump actually survived, but I can say um, whether he did or didn't, it does seem to be a wound to the head, right? And one of the heads had a wound that seemed to be fatal but wasn't, right? He was wounded by the sword and still lived. Okay, well, an M16 or an AR-15 is the sword. That's what modern day soldiers carry M16s here in America. Even the Palestinians carry M16s a lot of the time. So in any instance, that's a sword. Okay, so wounded by the sword, like all of it makes sense. When it says put up a statue in the honor of the beast, I think that's an icon. That's what the word is. But it could also be an image, as in like an AI image. And so, I'm not positive that Trump even made it out of that, really. It could be body doubles and AI. But if he did, it could also just be this kind of magic that's keeping him alive for a short bit of time longer or something. I don't know. Maybe the body double was shot and they just didn't want to admit that, or I don't know. It also is weird why the Secret Service agent, who is just like allowed to be the head of the Secret Service, like promoted, why those dudes let him create that iconic photo, right, where he came up and was like fist up in the air. That is the last fucking thing you want to do at a guy getting shot at if you have any common sense or any survival instinct, right? Is to like stand up. You don't know the guy got shot. You don't fucking know that. Like, you don't know that Thomas Matthew Crooks or whatever his name is. You don't know that dude is dead. Also, did they pick a guy whose name is like similar to, like, he has Matthew in the name because my name is Matthew? Did they do that? I mean, I ain't everything that I do is recorded and watched. I'm not talking to anybody saying to go do anything like that, am I? So, I'm suggesting that people are doing these things of their own volition, by the way. Or, satanically impelled or whatever. I don't know. Compelled. Maybe even not satanically. Maybe that's from God. But in any instance, the idea of, anybody who refuses to follow what this knockoff of Trump says is going to be put to death, I think, is the idea. In other words, here in America, if you're not doing what he says, I don't know. When I see the news and they're firing people and whatever, I don't know if any of that's real these days. That's how fucking much of a mind trip some of this stuff is. It's like, how can I trust any of this? I literally can't when I know you guys are lying out your fucking teeth all the time. Either you're wrong or you're lying. I can maybe trust some people on YouTube, but mostly they're just regular people getting fooled too. So, I mean, like, And I also want to add, I think I'm in some kind of tint of testimony, right? And that when it describes the tint that the beast is like, boasting at and blaspheming, right? The heavenly tint and all those sheltered there. I mean, I think that's like aimed at whatever is surrounding and protecting me. And it's like some form of witness protection or something, because the presidents have been given governmental immunity, and maybe they're killing off anybody that is that would come out publicly and admit that what happened with where these women have like bred me without my permission, or whether the whole Epstein being a pedophile thing. Like, what happened to releasing those things, Trump? I've seen too many pictures of Trump with Epstein for me to believe that that's not, someone that he wasn't hanging out with and he didn't know anything about, the child abuse stuff. What, are you, an idiot or just not aware? I mean, it's like, it's hard to, it's one of those, but I don't, or both of those, or I don't know. I don't think he's that much of an idiot. I think he's just lying, and he knew about it and maybe participated in it. And it's exactly like what I was just talking about. Why'd they release all the stuff about JFK and MLK, but not Epstein, which happened just only a few years ago? And y'all know they killed him in jail. I mean, it's not even. That's what getting Epsteined is. They literally created a new verb out of that guy. It's a thing you do, get Epsteined. And I do not plan to get Epstein. So, um, though they did have me in the jail when they put him in the jail and killed him, as if they were sending me a message. So, um, and by they I mean the Beast Empire thing that is 41. So remember, we got 7 heads, 7 empires. 5 of them are already gone. 1 is here now. 5 are already gone. George H.W. Bush gone. Bill Clinton gone. George W. Bush gone. And by gone I mean they might still be alive. They could never get that presidential authority back. Donald Trump only got it back, and that's even what it describes here. He only got it back because he lost it. He didn't have 2 terms, and they're trying to give him a 3rd term, which would make him the 8th head, which makes sense of the thing. So remember, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 5 of them have already gone. 1 is here now. Joe Biden. He just left. So 1 is yet to come. He just came. Once here, he must stay for a short while. Donald Trump. So let's even go. He must stay for a short while. The Beast, who once was and now is not, is at the same time the 8th, so 48, and one of the 7, and he is going to his destruction. All right. So when I'm saying that is, the Beast once was. In other words, I think it was that he was 45. And also maybe he was alive and it was a different one because they changed the picture. Oh, here you go. Here's his picture now. I don't know. He did grow older, but what's up with the left eye thing? Left eye, right eye thing. You know what I mean? If I'm wrong about all this, you'd have to prove it to me at this point. You'd have to prove, like, well, there is these characters. There is this character. Who is it? Prove it. I mean, prove that y'all, the presidents, the supposed presidents, are not this. You know what I'm talking about? Prove it, because I think our country got taken over a long time ago. But prove to me, because all you would have to do is get close to the highest person and essentially threaten and scare them to the point where they start taking actions and then blackmail them. So I think there's compromat, or has been compromat, on all these men. In fact, one of the forms of compromat was the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, I think. I think the idea was that Israel tried to, this is my understanding, tried to blackmail Bill Clinton, and, they released some of the information on it, and that was the Monica Lewinsky stuff. But it's my understanding that they had the whole thing tapped, and they knew stuff about Clinton that they shouldn't have. If I have more to guess, it's that them and other people, other countries, have all sorts of shit on the presidents. Which is why it's like a lot of the times the presidents don't act the way they should as far as the policies around these things. But that's neither here nor there. My whole point is that I think the presidents are kind of have been manipulated in a way that if it came out publicly, they would not be the presidents, and they would have basically their entire legacies would be sullied, and they would be considered beasts. So, like, if it came out that since my birth there was some kind of executive order around preventing me from having what's mine because I'm the guy on the throne, and that a group of fucking pedophile whatevers want to beast men want to assert authority over, the guy on the throne of Yahweh, who is a person, but if Yahweh is protecting me and being with me, and the spirit of Yahweh is in me, then they're just a bunch of beasts acting like beasts. So the beast you have seen once was and now is not. So I think it's the idea. He was 45. He got his power stripped from him. In fact, it looked really bleak for him for a while under the Biden administration. And then after the whole wounding to the head, and Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, but, it's like essentially certain figures came out for him and extended his ability and his power and gave him more credibility. And then all of a sudden he's back. and has whatever. I don't disagree with every policy he has, to be honest, because I think if he was too out of the norm with his policy, it would be too obvious. So he kind of has to keep with some policies or whatever. But like the immigration thing, I would just say it's more expensive to like kick a bunch of women and children out of the country. You don't have to house them in 5-star hotels in New York, but you also don't have to send them home on $10,000 plane tickets or however much it costs to send all these people home and process all this stuff. You could take in that extra tax money of just like, all right, you guys can be citizens. Congrats, you made it. However, the military aged men, like everybody needs to give records. You need to give DNA. You need to give all sorts of stuff to be a citizen here. You're on like a temporary stay thing. Like you're on a thing where you got to be good for a certain amount of time and prove that you aren't acting a certain way. If you are a criminal, no, you don't get to stay here and be criminals here. You can go back wherever else and be criminals. You know what I mean? Like our whole country should be using its power to build up these foreign nations anyway, so that we don't have to take in all these people, so that people have better lives everywhere. The United States can't house everybody in the world, just like England can't house the entire Muslim world. You know what I mean? Like there's not enough space in London for everybody to live. Uh, it's just reality. However, these places in the West that have power and authority can help build up the world so that the whole world doesn't suck. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what Jesus would probably want you to do. That sounds like the kingdom of heaven to me, where the entire world is a better place and criminality is kind of. People don't even need to be criminals because it's like, oh, this place doesn't suck. Everything's better. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And anybody who would, you're just already in the burning lake. We don't even fuck around with that. You know what I mean? But this whole thing that they're doing allows the criminality because they aren't actually addressing the underlying issues. But that's just my thought. I don't want to be harsh on women and children who did end up getting here. It's like I get that it's the American dream, and like you'd have to follow the rules, and the rules would be like you got to give your DNA, you got to give like we have to know and be able to track you. You know what I mean? Like you would have to have like a temporary, like there's like an interim period where you don't have full citizenship, so that we earn, I mean, not full citizenship, but it's like probationary period. You know what I mean? You can't be causing problems and then expect to stay here. We already got a fucking enough of that in America. But like I don't see a need to kick every man, woman, and child out. Especially there's a lot of hardworking Mexicans and Central America, people from Central America. There's a lot of people like that here, and I live in Houston, Texas. There's a lot of people like that here that like they made it. They're trying to live the American dream. They aren't acting like criminals, but then there are some criminals, and not only that, you got to be harsh on them. And like my whole point is, we should be throwing people into a burning lake. Like there's a reason the Bible ends with that. It's like a form of counterterrorism that like the Muslims will cut your head off. All right, well we're Christians. In the kingdom of heaven, we'll throw you into a burning lake and you'll be tortured forever. And you don't have an Allah to save you or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like that's how it ends. That's how the Bible ends. That's why it's a kingdom of heaven, because nobody fucks around after that. And I'm a guy who likes to party and rave and stuff like that. I'm not saying you can't do those things. I'm not saying everything has to be this way or that way or the other. We'd figure something better out, but I don't think Trump is going to do it. I don't think Elon Musk is going to do it, and I damn sure don't think any of the presidents who don't have any power anymore are going to do it. So, all right. The beast who you once saw, and he comes up from the abyss. So one thing I want you to note is that who else comes up from the abyss is this character called Abaddon or Abaddon, right, in Hebrew, or Apollyon in Greek. In other words, he's the emperor of the abyss, and after something like smoke pours up out of the abyss, like the smoke from a huge... Is that because the fucking... like Hollywood just burned down, the Palisades just burned down, and there's smoke coming up from the abyss because that's Los Angeles, and he's the angel of the abyss. I don't know, something like that. I mean, I'm just taking some swings here, you know. I'm just yeah. But so, you know, I think the idea is that the Beast is also this character who is the Emperor of the Abyss. And he's also the one that makes war on the witnesses and overcomes them and kills them in the main street of the great city known as by the symbolic name Sodom and Egypt, in which their Lord was crucified. So, and then people stare at those witnesses for 3.5 days, and then they're brought back to life, right? And what's crazy is, you know how it always talks about like the Muslims and the Palestinians and the Arabs, and I say the Arabs because 93% Arabs. It's not every Arab, but goddamn, it's like 93% of them are Muslim, and almost every Muslim is like in agreement. In the least, you follow Islam, you're like tacitly supporting these concepts because this is where your religion ultimately ends. This idea of a day of rage or whatever it's talking about, I mean, it explicitly says here like the nations were the nations that aren't Israel, right? The nations were seething with rage, and now is time. Now it's time. Now the time has come for your own anger, and for the dead to be judged, and for your servants, the prophets, for the saints, and for all who worship you, small or great, to be rewarded. And then here's the part for all the people that want to care about the earth. The time has come to destroy those who are destroying the earth. Also, ironically, I think the oil companies are about to get sued in California by the people in who lost their homes in the Palisades thing, or the California is about to allow like some massive lawsuit against the oil companies. And the easiest thing the oil companies could do is point to me and say, this guy says there's a covert war going on, and someone set the fires intentionally because the people in the Palisades participated in some kind of covert rape action on his reality, and we're not going to pay 200 and however many billions of dollars that California is going to try to bilk out of the oil companies, most of which are here in Houston, right? You're welcome. All right, but that would also mean I'm then the guy in charge of so much. I'm the guy on the throne of Yahweh. So it's like, well, the oil companies, I don't like the earth have an issue. I think if I'm the guy on the throne of Yahweh, I'll have enough power to like fix things. I can clearly do some stuff with the weather anyway. Probably all the weather stuff that is going on is more fixable than whatever. You know what I mean? And there's some kind of satanic power preventing that in order to keep this idea of climate change going on. But in reality, the people destroying the earth are the ones that are like trying to upend God, Yahweh's ability to like fix the things. Because if I'm on the throne of Yahweh and I have all the technology and power and ability to fix whatever kind of things are going on, we have technologies to fix the pollution stuff. Yeah, that's easily fixable. But I can't do that if there's a bunch of people like Greta Thunberg helping the Arabs pretending to be Philistines because she's just a shill for Russia or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? How dare you? No, bitch, how dare you? You're causing so many fucking problems. You're parroting just bullshit. You're a problem. You're the one, you're part of this group of people that are destroying the earth. I ain't heard a goddamn thing about you that engages Yahweh. Yahweh is the one protecting the earth. Yahweh is the one who destroys and creates. You know what I mean? Allah and all the bullshit that she's empowering these days with Palestine and whatever, it's just destruction. Look at Gaza. They think that's a victory. That place is fucked up beyond recognition. That's somehow a victory for them. Anyway, then the sanctuary of God in heaven opened, and the Ark of the Covenant could be seen inside of it. And then came what? What came? What does it say? I'm gonna give you a suggestion. I'm gonna give you a hint here. What does it say that? What happens? What's that word? Then came flashes of lightning, peals of thunder, and an earthquake and violent hail. Earthquake things. You can see those in my videos. You can literally see earthquakes happening in real time when I get too angry or stressed out or whatever. In cooperation with Yahweh. Lightning things. You can very clearly see hundreds of instances of me doing things and then lightning happens. The Ark of the Covenant would be, all right, all the power of Yahweh is being released. I'm no longer cut off from my whatever, and I have the power to use that to, like, you know, reshape the earth in a way that actually makes this place a kingdom of heaven where nobody dies anymore. Again, hella ironic that the oil companies could end up being the good guys here, but I'm pretty sure if California sues the oil companies or allows the lawsuit against the oil companies are going to rat them out because, like, they're going to try to bankrupt the oil companies. And I think it's because they're based here in Houston, if I have to guess, or in Texas, right? And, you know, I think something evil and weird is going on in California where they're trying to steal away something. They definitely, again, I mean, you can watch the video. Like, why is this random Brazilian woman, Alessandra Ambrosio, why is she allowed to, you know, breed me? And, like, these are my kids. According to facial recognition, according to my own, just, like, no shit, no duh, 80 roundup, it's 88% match. You know what I mean? With no Ambrosio, so that was with Andre Ambrosio. With no Ambrosio, I mean, look at our, like, facial structure, shape, and stuff, our nose and everything, our jawline and everything. But I've never met these kids, even if they're mine, and they treat me like shit, and they don't treat me like dad, and their mom's evil to me, and she's with other men. It was never anything to help me out. It's just, it could have been a dream, but she's trying to make a nightmare out of it. So, all right, I'm going to make it your nightmare. You're going to be thrown into infinite burning torture. You gave up being God Empress of all existence to have, like, power for, I don't know, almost 20 years, not even 20 years. Congrats. You're stupidest fucking idiots on the planet. 93% match with this kid, right? I mean, no Ambrosio. Like, what do you think it's... And he only looks darker than me here because, first of all, I live at nighttime. But second, so I never see the sun barely, other than when I was playing soccer a lot. And then, you know, he lives in California on the beach, but guess whose school and community burned down? Oh, that was the Palisades fire. Right. Okay, makes sense that there's some kind of covert action, rape action being taken against me here in Houston, Texas, because probably the thing that I'm talking about is real, and there's behind the scenes a war going on that, in the least, I'm not being allowed to see everything. I just have to know what's going on, being Yoda, you know what I mean? Or just using my intuition. But there's too much weird shit going on around me. But okay, let's wrap some of this up. The Beast, I've already talked for, look, it's already an hour and a half. I was like, I don't want this to be 2 hours. We're an hour and a half in, so let me wrap this up. The Beast you have seen once was and now is not. He is yet to come up from the abyss. That means all the churches, seals, trumpets, and plagues, they match each other. So, you know, I'm going to show this again, even though I've done this however many times in other videos. Notice how it talks about white robes here, right? White robes. And then you go to the fifth, so that's the fifth church. And then you go to the fifth seal, and it says each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer. It's like, how much longer do you have to wait? And then they're given white robes and told to wait a little longer. And I'm going to suggest that the amount of time here that they've got to wait is the white robes protect them from being stung by the things that come out of the abyss. This is why, if there's something like that going on, I'm not going to be feeling it. These women have already attacked me in a way, and they are not going to be able to overcome me. In fact, I'm throwing their asses into a burning lake. And I think they're pissed off about it, so they're going to be attacking all these men. Or all the men that are just like normal men that haven't, like, seeked God. You know what I mean? And found him. Yeah. Their tails were like scorpions, and with stings, it was with them that they were able to injure people for, how long does that say? It says 5 months, so it gives a period of time. So when it asks how much longer, and then they're given white robes, I'm going to suggest 5 months. So, you know what I'm saying? And then if you go, by the way, down to here, at the fifth plague, it says, you know, darkness is emptied over the whole empire of the beast, right? The one that it talks about just earlier, where the smoke comes out of that the abyss, right? Which is the empire of the beast, I think. That's why he's the angel of the abyss, which is, I think, just the reality. All those timelines that I was telling you that don't head towards the One Direction Kingdom of Heaven place, the singularity that is the Kingdom of Heaven. I believe the show Loki calls it, or Marvel recently. It's like the TVA. There's a sacred timeline, except it's not like that. You know what I mean? But the idea of there being an actual set apart sacred timeline that we go to where everything's better. Okay, it's just not, it's a Marvel thing, so they got to twist everything and steal some IP. But yeah, I mean, it's the idea that there's a bunch of different timelines, but all of those end up back in the abyss. This timeline, where this happens, it doesn't end up back in the abyss. Once these plagues and all the seals and stuff start breaking, we're going to the kingdom, baby. Yeah. Okay, so men were biting their tongues for pain, but instead of repenting for what they had done, they cursed the God of heaven because of their pains and sores. Remember, that's exactly what it says here. So it's the men who are participating in the empire of the abyss, or the empire of the God damn it, what is over the throne of the beast. Okay. So notice how it also brings up the throne of the beast uh and it's clearly related to the fifth, right? Right? It's the fifth one. Okay, and it's the empire, and it's plunged into darkness, and then people are getting stung. They're biting their biting their tongues in pain. Oh, well, that's what it describes here. They're biting their tongues in pain because they're getting stung by these things that look like women but have lion's teeth and have tails, almost like maybe they're what they're doing sexually is so painful to the men or something. Else, maybe they're just literally women that are actually men. I don't know for sure, but I can say this. I'm thinking probably like, it looks something like this. This is Tove Lo. Like I'm Wat Milkins, this is Tove Lo. So if you change that back to Matt Wilkins, and I'm just gonna give you, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I DJ, right? And I DJ as Milkins, and the idea is a girl one time called me Wat Milkins, and it stuck. And so I use that for different things, and so that's Tove Lo, right? You see Tove Lo, but that's love to. If you do the Wat Milkins Matt Wilkins thing where you just change the first letter, that's love to. Okay, and you can read, I'm sure, all the titles here of these songs are her trying to get some point over. I don't even know if these people are that aware until the very end, and then they might be. But they have body armor and faces that look like women, or and women's. What does it say? They had what looks like gold crowns and faces that seemed human. It's almost like they're robots or something, or like androids, and hair like women's hair, and teeth like lions' teeth. So they're like, they're fierce, is what it's saying. They had body armor. It's almost like she's wearing some kind of body armor, right? And then they have tails with stings in them like scorpions. So, I mean, I'm just using this as art to illustrate. I don't actually think it looks exactly like this, but her tail, look at her tail. I'm literally saying look at her butt here, right? But, like, notice what comes up from just above the butt. Maybe right, that's not that far from her butthole, right? So, you know what I mean? Something sexual related. That's what I'm getting at. The butt is probably something sexual related, and then the tail comes out of that and it stings people. It's just symbolic language, is what I think. I guess it could be like actual, scorpion flying women. Additionally, another thing is this deity called Norgal, which is mentioned in the Bible, might give an idea. So you see he's lion-headed and has a mace and a sword, but on certain kind of like, these like ancient depictions of him, he's depicted with like Here he has like I guess a dog or something. I don't know. But there's a scorpion. Notice the scorpion here, and there's some kind of female thing. In certain depictions, this Norgal character is almost like riding or has like Nergal Abyss maybe. Um, I don't know. It was some video game thing. Eve Online. Nergal. We'll look up Scorpion. Oh, here. Nergal, god of inflicted death, and something about wings and a lion's teeth, and I don't know if this is an accurate depiction, but my point is that like there are depictions like this, and this is he's like the god of Hades or just different things because they aren't very good at keeping their gods separate from each other. You know what I mean? But like these ancient deities that they do like this, like hold on, I don't know if I'm gonna find it real quick, but if not, okay, here. Yeah, Academia, the locust monsters from the abyss in Revelation 9. The 200 million monsters predicted coming out of the abyss are none other than Nergal, god of the underworld and death, and that's just in Babylon, which is the whole thing because Revelation is talking about Babylon, but I don't actually think it's talking about like the whole world is Babylon at that point. But just give me a sec. There might even be. We can. Oh, we're not gonna be able to. We ain't gonna be able to click it. I'm not gonna join anything. But long story short, there's other there's like depictions of him with like a almost exactly as described, right? Almost exactly as described in Revelation. This deity called Nergal, who in Hebrew it would be Abaddon, in Greek it would be Apollyon. Those are the languages of the Bible. In Babylonian it would be Nergal. Oh wow. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's how these like this is I think Apollo or Apollyon. This is Abaddon, the deity of destruction, the destroyer deity. And then when we look up Nergal, what is he? The Nergal is and his abode is the underworld, which gets emptied into the burning lake in Revelation. But he is the god associated with war, disease, and death. Remember, all those things happen in Revelation. So just you know, okay, just so you understand that that's what's going on. Now back to this. So that with all this background, when we're looking at the thing, just so you understand, now this should make more sense when I describe this. The beast you have seen once was and now is not. So that means, and he is yet to come up from the abyss. That means he's this one that comes here. There's 5 have already gone, 1 is here now, 1 is yet to come. That means the beast you have seen and once was is the 7th. So that already lays out that it's the 7th. He is at the same time, the beast who once was and now is not, is at the same time the 8th and one of the 7, and he's going to his destruction. So now you know he is the 7th and the 8th. But if those are already guaranteed because it says those essentially in the same thing. The beast who once was and now is not is at the same time the 8th and the 7th, but the 7th and the 8th are already it already explains those are the same things, right? But just by the way it has phrased those. But it makes even more sense if like remember these 5 who've already gone. These 5 have already gone, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he was 5, but you can maybe make him 5 now. All of these can no longer get their power back. Actually, I think if they pass this the law that they want to give Trump the ability, Joe Biden technically could do that again. I don't know if he's going to live that long. I don't know if he's that competent anymore. And also, I don't think he represents the same Like, I think it throws off the rest of the thing, the rest of what it says here, but that could be a thing too. I'm not positive, but I can say it does seem like if you were like, if you were to bet, if I was to bet, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He once was, right. Number 5 here once was 45. Once was, right. Um, but then when Joe Biden took power, they like literally didn't just do the normal thing. They like extra stripped him of power. So he was not. And then he also got shot while he was not. And I think the only thing that maybe has kept him alive is that he had the protection. But in any instance, or he has like I said, body double AI, some weird bullshit like that. I don't know, magic body double AI, just all sorts of shit. But and like I don't like any of the presidents. Just to let y'all know, I don't think any of them have been that great. Uh, you know, however they are as people, they don't seem to be. Once you take that much power and you do what they did with it, which is a whole fat shit of nothing. I don't think Yahweh looks very highly on that. They could have fixed a lot of the world's problems. None of them did. So, and none of them have I ever heard say the name Yahweh. So I'm gonna guess that none of them are really Christian, even though all of them would claim to be Christian, just or like God fearing men. Um, so it ain't just Barack here that I haven't questioned whether he's a Christian. In fact, he was the closest maybe to actually being Christian like, maybe as far as what he was saying. But he's still just another one of these guys. That's how I look at it. And a lot of this shit happened during his tenure to me. So like between the period of these two tenures. So it just continued into the Trump and Biden stuff. And so anyway, he comes up from the abyss. So if he comes up from the abyss, I think that makes him the Emperor of the Abyss, because that's what it describes. It says the Emperor of the Abyss comes up from the abyss. Okay, well, that would mean he's the 5th one, right? And if the 5th one also has to do with the throne, the throne of the thing. Yeah, I think it's this one, actually. And like the throne of the abyss, right, of the beast. And maybe George Bush is actually Satan here, but like because when it talks about the third church, remember it says I don't know. I guess Satan could be a number of things, but it says in the place where Satan is enthroned, right? And so where is this dude enthroned? I mean, where was he? Oh, Texas. He's from Connecticut, but his residence is in Texas. Oh, okay. Well, and then also stuff about Houston, like he was here in Houston. Okay, okay. But it's none of them are getting out of this. You know what I mean? Like Barack ain't getting out of this either. You know what I mean? None of the presidents are coming out of this unscathed. In fact, I think the idea is that they're all part of this beast system that has done something so wrong, and none of them took any action to remedy it because it's a boys' club. You see them when they meet up, and when they were at Jimmy Carter's funeral, you can tell it's just the boys' club. Hey, we all got to be president. Hey, we're the presidents. The blah 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 blah. Anyway, not that they even like each other, it seems, but they don't. They all share one thing, and that's this. They get to be this guy in charge of things for a little while, and Trump's back in that position. Which okay, so that makes sense of this. If he is the 5th one, because he comes up from the abyss, right? And so that means something about the throne of the abyss. I think that means he's the 5th one too. So I think the idea is 5 have already gone, and he was the 5th one. He lost his power, and Joe Biden then took power. So 5 have already gone, right? It says 5 have already gone. Now if Trump is the 5th one, and then he goes away, he once was, but he is now not, right? He isn't anymore, and yet he is. But he isn't because he lost his power. So he was 45. 46 is the one here now, and he just left, right? 47 is one is yet to come, right? And that's him. So 47. And we've also already explained how the 7th and the 8th are already the same. And so one of the 7 would have to mean one of the previous 6, because he is inherently, by being the beast who once was and is not, he is the 7th. That is what that means, because he's the one that comes up. The one is yet to come means the 7th one. Well, that is the uh, one who was and now is not. That's the one who came, right? Right? I think. Because he's yet to come up from the abyss, and he comes and goes to his destruction, right? And it's like it says it up here. He's yet to come up, but only to his destruction. It says it right here, and he goes to his destruction. So that means the 7th is inherently the 8th, right? But he also, it's saying that the 8th is one of the 7. Well, I mean, I guess he's already the 7, but if you already know that the 7th is the 8th inherently by what it's saying here, is it also saying that he's one of those previous 6? If it's Donald Trump, that makes sense, because Donald Trump's also trying to be 48, right? And they're already trying to pass laws in Congress, like someone already, Trump third term. How Donald Trump could snatch a third term despite the 22nd Amendment. Trump really could find a way to seize a third term. That would make him 48. That would make him the 8th beast, right? Rep. Ogles proposes amending the 22nd Amendment. And it would only be like Biden could technically then run again too, because you can't have already served 2 consecutive terms. It's if you do a term and then you lose, you basically get a redo and get to do 2 more. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. So the third term, do you get it? I mean, even them talking about it here, like on the Daily Beast, right? I mean, come the fuck on. It's even in the name. What is the presidential limousine? What is it called? Presidential state car. Nicknamed the Beast. I mean, I didn't name it. So the Daily Beast. Oh, and look, it is who I'm assuming is the Beast. Also, another thing, just randomly want to point this out. I have no clue if this is true or not. Is this Buck Palmer guy? Is he Trump's kid? Look at the bottom of his nose. I mean, they just look. Is he like Trump's secret love child? You know what I mean? And with Alain Ambrosio, maybe, I don't know. He looks like Alain Ambrosio kind of, but I also think Alain Ambrosio is older than what is being said. She looks like she's older than Alessandra. I could be wrong. But also, Alessandra has a lot of magic and money to fuck around with. But you can tell how I feel about this situation. And even here, I just want to play this song real fast, and we'll look at the lyrics, and I'll put the lyrics up, and I don't want this to be like, if I had to go back in and mute it, I'll just do that. So I'm not going to talk during that, but I'll play it, and then afterwards, and then I'll explain what I'm trying to say.
Contrary to the matter, who you
All right. Anyway, so if I get copyright struck for that, I didn't say anything during it that needs any issue or that's a problem. Look at Trump's nose. Look at Buck Palmer's nose. They just look very similar. He also has similar features. He also has light blonde, brown hair. Blah 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 blah. My guess is that that's his kid secretly or not so secretly, just secretly to me. I think people try to hide things from me, but it's like public knowledge because the internet is so prevalent. You can figure out anything about people, and people are trying to figure out how perceptive I am. And it's like I'm considerably more perceptive than probably you want me to be, but I don't want that to be the reality. But if that is the reality, I'm gonna say this: I never said you're a mistake at all. You're Jezebel, and I'm gonna throw you into a burning lake, and I guess Andra and Noah are gonna die, and all the fucking rape babies are gonna die and stuff. But I didn't say you were a mistake because I do need a Jezebel character. So shout out to Alien Ant Farm. From what are they from San Diego? I think my cousin is also a musician who did things in San Diego for a while, so I always enjoyed their music. And turns out maybe it helped save the world. Who would have thought? And this is also the thing with the musicians as I'm doing music stuff, right? As I'm making these mixes, either your music is helping me and you're helping save the world, or you're trying to hurt me. It's not. I'm still using it to do what I need to do with it, and you're going to be thrown into a burning lake afterwards. So it's going to be embarrassing that I used your music anyway. So it's one or the other. I don't really give a fuck at this point. That's on you. Uh, but for me, I think I've just proved now, enough here. But and also what I'm saying here is, yeah, that would be a pretty big scandal. Trump has kids that he's not, with people, and that his kids are participating in this abuse, and that maybe Hunter Biden participated in the abuse, and that's why his house burned down, and that's why Joe Biden pardoned him preemptively. It seemed to be right when I put one of these songs into my Ale on Anja mix. Um, this one. Anyway, notice the left eye is the Batman eye and the right eye is the Superman eye, and Superman's like an alien, right? And so all these people are looking at me, and I got my left eye and they got their right eyes. And also notice Batman he's got a mask with horns on it, almost like he's wearing like a devil mask type thing. Or I mean, I say devil. Devil doesn't really have horns. Moses had horns or rays of light. The idea is that they project strength. That's what horns are, like on a bull, because the bull is the alpha, and that's why the first letter is Aleph, and alpha are the same thing. Alpha, Aleph, A, all the same letter. That's why it has horns. That's why the bull has horns. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Okay, you mess with the bat, you get, the Bat Clan is going to beat you up. You want to talk about a Ku Klux Klan? Well, there's a Bat Clan, and I believe the boys in Dallas call that four. The fourth church is the Bats, and that's the Iron Rod probably. You don't want to fuck with the Bats. One man being a Superman like thing is like, okay, that's great. But if you got a whole team of Batmen, okay, Badman. That's what his name actually is, Badman, right? You got a whole team of people. I'm working on the Gal Gadot mix. If you go back in the thing where I was showing off all my mixes, you can tell that Badman and Batman are something I'm making a point out of doing. But because that's what it is. There's none good but God. Superman is called an L, so he's a good man, right? And so he looks like an alien. He looks like a deity, right? God, L. There's none good but God, right? That's what Jesus says. That means everybody else is bad men. So that's why Batman is a bad man. Get it? Okay. I'm a little tired of the name puns, but it's still kind of fun. Uh, um, so let's wrap this up. I think Trump is the fifth. I think Trump is the seventh, and I think Trump is the eighth. And then that exactly fits what's going on here, right? That fits what's going on in the book with the Beast, and absolutely something's going on with Alessandro Ambrosio. And I think whatever thing is about to judge this, and I say about to, I think it happens sometime during his presidency, here's my guess. There's a 1,260-day period of witnesses. I don't know if that's already been going on. I don't think so. But it could have already been going on. I can say this. How long is a president's term? 4 years. Okay, hold on. How many days is a presidential term? 1,461. Now, 1,461 minus 1,260. 201 days. That's about 6.5 months. Well, let's say it's 6.5 months, because 6 months is about 180 days, then about a half a month. So we'll say 6.5 months. I think that the idea is that sometime here into the beginning of Trump's presidential term, I think as I'm doing this, if it proves out what I'm saying is correct with Alessandro Ambrosio, I am supposed to be the 48th president, and he's trying to do something where he's like the only person that could run is like if he did something illegal and used all sorts of illegal power to in the darkness to try to strike out at me, and he's doing that, and he would have to align with Islam and do all sorts of stuff and have people take on the mark of the beast or some bullshit like that. And Elon Musk. So this is the last part of this. Elon is all of a sudden Elon chose to side with Trump sometime during the thing here. And I was typing up this Elon we already went over is a tree, and I think the idea is Elon or Trump, they both think they're God or something like that, whatever. I think Elon is a liar based on, just I've done this video, like Asmongold did a video, and I commented on that video because, here, let's look at that. Jesus says if you can be trusted with a little, you can be trusted with a lot. But if you lie about a little, here's what I'm going to gather from that. If you lie about a little, you're probably willing to lie about a lot. And also, just real fast, I just want to say if I am in a position, I'm going to hold the NFL to a higher standard. If they get caught rigging, people are going to jail. People ain't just going to jail. People getting thrown into a burning lake. Most people only have sports as their refuge for they have a hard reality where they work all the time and they want to watch sports and their favorite teams, and maybe their favorite teams represent them. And there's even a thing like Gad Sad was explaining to Joe Rogan where you can lose testosterone and basically can affect your health physically, whether you want it to or not, if your team loses. When the NFL is clearly rigged or in the least is incompetently reffed as it is today, Roger Goodell needs to be put under notice. Hey, people are allowed to bet on your thing now, and people are clearly betting for things and getting money based on these rigged calls, and people are also losing money. The general public is losing money because you're a rigged fucking league. You don't have full-time officials because you're too poor. I'm sorry. Each team is worth $4 billion at least. If the smallest fucking leagues in wherever can have soccer refs that are full-time, you can have full-time refs. Don't lie. You fucking liars. So I'm tired of liars. I'm tired of the NFL being rigged. I'm tired of the thing where it's clear that they're going to try to do some bullshit with Taylor Swift and the Chiefs are going to win and Travis Kelce's going to propose to Taylor Swift afterwards and then retire. And it's if the script is that easy to read, y'all need some new shit. Because any company that's putting money into the rigged NFL because of this, without calling them out, I'm going to come down on you too. The NFL needs to be something that is legit. It needs to be actual football being played. The players would agree. The fans would agree. The only people who don't agree are the people the people who are caring about ratings. That is the commissioner and the I don't know. I guess the people who pay them money, like the broadcasting rights. But the Swifties that would only be on for a little while, they don't give a fuck about the NFL. Once Taylor Swift goes, which she would after this year, guess what? They ain't gonna fucking watch the NFL anymore. I mean, so but you're losing people who are actually fans, and so okay, I don't need to rant about the NFL right now, but Jesus Christ, something needs to change with the NFL. Okay, all right, let's back to Elon Musk being the beast from the earth. So as I've explained, I think these guys are the thing that part. The reason I'm going to give you the reason why I think Elon is the beast. First of all, I mean from the earth, his name also like he's all about like no immigrants here in America. It's like, dude, you were born in South Africa. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like you aren't from here. You know what I mean? I don't have an issue with people who aren't from here, but you're getting on other immigrants because they're immigrants and you're an immigrant. What the fuck are you talking about, man? You know what I mean? And I think he's bullshit. I think it's actually a bunch of people that are running him as if he's one person and that he's super smart or something, but he's actually just a guy who's willing to lie. And I think the Nicolations, it's almost like Nikolai Tesla. The Nicolations are a group of people whose name means victory over the people or destruction of the people. I think being a very wealthy guy and doing nothing with that wealth, and he doesn't engage Jesus. I've heard him say like one thing about Jesus, and it's like a Muslim would say that. Oh yeah, Jesus. Yeah, even the Muslims call him the Christ. That doesn't mean fuck all. So I mean, you know what I mean? Under their terminology and what they call him Al Masih, it doesn't mean anything. The Christ doesn't mean anything to them. So like despite the fact that in Christianity it's the guy who sits on the Bema judgment seat, in the Quran, that's Allah who does that. Well, okay, well then Jesus would be Allah, but they don't want to engage that Jesus is God. So, I think it's just a bunch of Arabs trying to steal away reality. And, if I know any Arabs around here that are acting like this, you could just change or acknowledge it or engage that this is what's going on and be better. But, there needs to be an end to this. Islam is a blight on humanity, and it isn't just because Arabs were forced at the edge of the sword by other Arabs to do it. So I mean, it's not like they much had a choice either. But once you're taught, you no longer have a choice. You can either you're either choosing to be ignorant or you can change. So first thing that tips me off Elon Musk is like this, because he's lying just about the most basic thing that he's like that he's playing. And I even want to do something real fast. That he's playing these video games, right? That he's not even playing. And if you go and watch this video that I do, these people are mocking the shit out of Elon Musk because he clearly doesn't know what he's doing, and yet he's willing to lie and make it seem as if he's one of the best players in the world. Well, if he's willing to lie about video games, I have no doubt he's willing to lie about everything else in his reality. He doesn't seem as intelligent to me as he lets on. I'm not the most intelligent person in the world. I just have some wisdom that I get from Jesus and Yahweh. And what is that wisdom, understanding, and knowledge telling me? It's telling me this man is full of bullshit. He's just a liar about a lot of things. Like I'm saying, he could all the things that he claims to talk about wanting for the West or whatever. Jesus would bring those things. Those are things that Jesus like stands for. He doesn't want to engage. Jesus exists. You know what I mean? So it's just watch this video that I do where Asmongold here, who you want to talk about my situation. Are you real or are you fake? I can't tell. You're in Austin, but at this point, it feels like all these people moving to Austin are moving there for a reason. I think he was born from Austin. He reminds me a lot of people that I know from Houston. So you know what I mean? Like I don't know, but what's up, Asmon? Or you know what I mean? Like what are you know? You want to engage this at all, or what's going on here? Like anything? Hello? Yeah. But this isn't about Asmongold. This is about Elon Musk being a liar. Who Asmongold also agrees. All right, Elon here. Terebinth, mighty. Well, right, you get the thing is saying that like, oh, okay, that's what Allah is. That's what Allah is. A terebinth, an oak. So I think the idea is that he thinks he's a deity. He thinks he's some kind of judge, but he is not. He would not be Elohim. He would just be, an oak. The place where David beat Goliath. If that's not the case, and I'm looking too much into this, okay. But look, Elonite, Might, one of the clan of Elon, Terebinth, a plane. It's exactly the thing that I'm fucking talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that hard to figure out that that's what this is. There's also an Elon here in Houston that I know through Sphere and Joel Macaluso. I don't know if he's a bad guy or not, but I can say this: Elon Musk does not seem like he's doing much good with it. Like, okay, he's intelligent, but I think he has a whole crew of people behind him, like basically creating him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's all just him doing it. So, let's keep going here. When I was trying to type this into my story and pictures, first of all, Elon relationship with Trump, Al Jazeera, you know, the Qatari funded like Islamic propaganda. Elon Musk is the X. By the way, they do literally. They'll say one thing in their English publication, and in their Arabic, they'll say the exact opposite. They say hateful, evil things in their Arabic stuff, anti-LGBT stuff, whatever. You go look at like they are as far right as any Muslim would be because Muslims are super far right, and then they put out leftist propaganda because this is how they get, you know, the far right of Islam is like against the far right of Christianity. They're two competing things. So they try to use the left to upend the far right here or the right here, and they have this false far right figure. I think Elon Musk, and I think the idea is he's trying to pander to Nazis and whatever. I mean, clearly, look, I don't think you can look too much into the whole like when he does this and he's doing that, right? But at the same time, you can't overlook that he did that. I think he did it because he's a fucking troll. But you know, I still don't think it's a wise thing to do. I did it to show that he did it, but you know, I don't like Nazis. Um, but I don't like the synagogue of Satan either. Those are claiming to be Jews but are not. So there's gotta be some fucking middle ground where it's like, all right, fake Jews, Nazis. I don't like either of them. We got a problem. I don't like fake Christians either. So you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be as real as fucking possible. Israel, as fucking possible. Anyway, this is also why I think those are the synagogue of Satan. In the least, they want Israel to exist, and they might actually believe in Yahweh if are forced to. But it's in their own self-interest to like, okay, this guy does believe in the God we supposedly follow, and he's kind of forcing us to say like, all right, well, Israel can exist, but we got to actually engage Jesus. And he's the guy on the throne. He doesn't hate us. These other people all fucking hate us. Matt Wilkins doesn't hate us. All right, he's the guy on the throne. Fuck it. So you get what I'm saying? But like, they want to kill y'all ass and y'all's ass, and you know it's just like the leftists. So remember this: you can be left in Israel. You can't be left anywhere else in the Middle East. You could be left in fucking like left wing in Iran before the revolution. All the leftists helped the Muslims get into power, and what did the Islamists do? What did the Muslims do? They executed all the left. That's the first goddamn thing they did when they got into power. I mean, just ask. There are some atheists and some left leaning. There are some leftists, and I mean, people like. There are some people who are not unaware of this in Iran. I was watching a thing with apostate prophet Ridvan Adamir, I think is his name, and David Wood the other day, and they were talking about this, and you know, it does seem like, and I don't even know if the apologists, I don't know if anybody I see on YouTube is fucking real. I bring up like Al Fadi and Dr. J. Smith or whatever when there's like, all right, well, they're saying what I'm saying anyway. So it's like at a certain point, if I just said it before they did, maybe they have to engage what I'm saying. You know what I mean? In the same way, you know, they're basically validating what I've said. Now, you know, my whole point with this is the left are being used as useful idiots, and Palestine does not exist. It was never a country. Like, the term has been morphed over time, but it's just modern day. It's a bunch of Arabs pretending to be Philistines. Their literal Arabic names betray that they are not from there for the most part. people like Bella Hadid don't know what the fuck they're talking about, so that cannot be your source of information on it. Okay, Muhammad Hadid had a passport that said land of Palestine. It also says Haaretz Israel on it. So that's going to be an issue when you have those passports or those things from that same period where the idea was that there was a mandate territory for both the Jews and the Arabs, not the Palestinians, the Arabs. Eventually, the idea of the Arabs turned into, oh well, we're Palestinians, whereas the Jews stopped calling themselves Palestinians; they became Israelis. Okay, why? Because that matches the ancient, Jeremiah 23:5, right after 5 and 6 prophecy that Yahweh was going to bring them back into the land. I don't give a fuck what the Arabs say; they're just liars, just like Elon Musk is. So I mean, like, the Arabs had a chance to make a Palestine. What did they do? They didn't. They didn't start a country. They started a war and lost it. How many wars have they started since then? Numerous, and they lose them all. So, y'all should shut the fuck up and sit down. You're causing so many problems for the world, it is unbearable at this point. And I already know they're going to continue to until forced not to. I will say it was nice seeing Hezbollah and these, violent Muslims be castrated and decapitated at the same time. That was the whole, beeper thing. And I'm going to suggest not just the Mossad has weapons like that going on. I'm going to suggest that there's groups of people here in America that are connected to the military that are, maybe a little deeper in the state than people would want, that are looking at this situation and saying, all right, it might be time to set some shit off. But I'm going to also suggest that their ability is not just, beepers. So anyway, all right. And is that a threat? I don't know. What do I know? I live my life as publicly as possible, but that's me doing my intuition thing, me doing my spiritual like third eye thing. Yeah, that's what I see with my third eye, my mystical vision, my technicolor psychic vision. I see it. It is clear as day. All right. Anyway, so last bit. This was I kind of shared this because I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is a court's going to be held and it's going to strip the power away from these people. Remember, it says the beast was killed and the other beasts have their power deprived for a time. What it's describing here actually is also in. So hold on. It's from Revelation 19. But also remember that the 10 Kings thing, by the way, they get a short period of time. They go to 10 Kings, 10 Horns, whatever. They're putting their power together, essentially, and at the beast's disposal, and they go to war against the Lamb. But the Lamb is the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and he'll defeat them, and they'll be defeated by his followers. Maybe those are the people that I'm talking about with the not just beepers. And, they don't have beepers, but they have buttons that they could press that, like I can pull some levers and have some things happen. In my imagination, if I can pull a lever in my imagination and some catastrophic event happens or some bullshit goes down that kills some people, you should probably engage that what's going on is real. That would probably make me the guy on the throne, the throne that matches that throne, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. I'm just saying, if I'm a lamb that can pull some levers, it probably makes me a lion, huh? But some imaginary levers, and push some buttons. Am I pushing some buttons right now? Probably piss people off all the time. It's probably why I'm guessing Trump and Elon just rage at me. They're pissed off that I'm calling them on their bluffs. Like immediately after that whole Gamergate thing, Elon had to come out and say what a liar he was. And like, by the way, I just added something to this. So I think it's this thing. All right, we'll look at this in a second. But actually, I'm gonna pull up one more thing here. Actually, I don't even have to pull it up here. Guess what I just installed? Oh, hey, I now have AI built into my computer. Wow. Wow. It's gonna load here, but it's kind of resource intensive, I think. NVIDIA, if you can soup this up a bit and give me the ability to go through my videos and like, I can do this off my 4090. That'd be great. Might be more reason to get a 5090 or whatever, but here it is. I can run AI models like locally on my computer here, and so I got all the English language ones. I don't speak Chinese. I have, yeah, I don't speak Chinese. So, not that I don't like, China's cool. I mean, the CCP isn't, but China is like an ancient nation. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I even think in the Chinese language, their word for like righteousness is something about spearing a lamb with a like stabbing a lamb, piercing a lamb with a spear, something like that. I don't know. I keep seeing things where it's like hidden in the Chinese language is secretly like Christian themes. So anyway, um, Yahweh. Also the Monkey King thing. I'm pretty sure Yahweh is just they call Yahweh the Monkey King, but whatever. The Buddha might be able to beat Monkey King. I don't even think that's true, but Buddha ain't beating Yahweh. Buddha getting thrown in the burning lake and Buddha getting tortured forever. So I would suggest Buddha start changing. You know, that thing that he always talks about, everything always changes. Except I'm going to tell you, Yahweh don't change. Buddha better change. That's called repent. Change your mind, else Buddha getting thrown in a burning lake. Sound good? Any of the Buddhas. All the Buddhas. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So we got this, and this is the thing that I'm trying to bring up here. So, speaking of tossing people in burning lakes, here's the beast with all the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together. It's not like a giant fucking beast. It's literally like a guy who takes power like Trump or something, and I'm sure he's. I think the whole Armageddon thing is going to be something where Trump is going to be like allowing basically America's gonna be even almost participating in the allowance of the armies that ride together into the Valley of Megiddo in Gog and Magog, and that is what this is talking about. And when it says he chains Satan up for a day, right? I mean, 1,000 years. Guess what? To the Lord is like a year. This 1,000 years is exactly the same period of time that it describes. To the Lord, 1,000 years is like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years. So, when it says 1,000 years, I'm just going to guess that it's a day, that Satan is chained up for a day, and then he comes out and, they go, the war to go mobilizes them for war, and then, the fire comes down from heaven and consumes them, and the devil gets thrown into the burning lake, and blah, blah, blah. And when we're talking about a burning lake, what do you think it says here? The great things the horn were saying, like look here when it's talking about I saw the beast and the riders, beast taken together with the false prophet, the beast from the earth and the beast from the sea. So the beast, in other words, I'm suggesting probably Donald Trump and Elon, who had worked miracles on the beast's behalf and by them had deceived all who had been branded with the mark of the beast. I mean, is that what is going on here? This is the hypothetical situation. Donald Trump is the beast and that Elon Musk is the beast from the earth. Whoever it is, it's the beast from the earth and the beast from the sea are taken prisoner, and the false prophet is the beast from the earth, and who had worked miracles on the beast's behalf, and by them had deceived all who had been branded with the mark of the beast and worshipped his statue, and these two were thrown alive into the fiery lake of burning sulfur. All the rest were killed by the sword of the rider, which came out of his mouth, and all the birds were gorged with their flesh. Is that like a sword? I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. Is it his mouth, or is he connected to a bunch of birds? Hot women? Is that like a Venom suit where women are biting dicks off? Maybe. Chomp chomp. Anyway, then I saw an angel come down from heaven, blah, blah, overpowered the dragon, threw him into the abyss, shut the entrance. He comes back out, right? There's a first resurrection. I think it's literally for a day, but those who don't have the brand mark, right? And Gog and Magog, and then here it describes even hell is thrown into the burning lake. Look, anybody whose name could not be found was thrown into the burning lake. right? Okay, that's called the second death. This burning lake is the second death, and anybody whose name could not be found written in the book of life was thrown into the burning lake. Recently I've been showing like Kilauea here is looking a lot like a burning lake that you could toss people into. I'm sure shit's about to kick off even more soon, but sometimes it's a great visual tool. Like volcanoes are a great visual tool to show like, oh, a burning lake. But when Jews, when the synagogue of Satan, those who are claiming to be Jews are like, what are you talking about? Or if anybody's like, what are you talking about? I don't see that in the Old Testament. There's a burning lake. When it says the great things the horn was saying were still ringing in my ears as I watched the beast was killed and its body destroyed and committed to the flames. I'm gonna suggest when it says that there, and then you see the reference to Revelation 19:20. I'm gonna suggest Revelation 19:20 is right here, and then it says, "But the beast was taken prisoner together with the false prophet." So the beast from the earth who had worked miracles on the beast's behalf and by them had deceived all who had been branded with the mark of the beast and worshipped his AI or his statue or something. These two were thrown alive into the fiery lake of burning sulfur. All the rest were killed by the sword of the rider. So the fiery lake of burning sulfur, I'm gonna suggest, is this thing, and it's pretty much the same concept here, and remember, this is Persia, and by the end of this one, it declares that this decree from King Darius or Dariush, and Daniel flourished in the reign of Dariush and the reign of Koresh or Cyrus the Persian. So Persia also has a decree that the God of Daniel, Yahweh, is the living God. He endures forever. His sovereignty will never be destroyed, and his kingship never end. He saves, sets free, works signs and wonders in the heavens and earth. He has saved Daniel from the power of the lions. If you go down here, it very clearly talks about the one like a son of man coming on the clouds, and he's conferred sovereignty, like a kingdom, glory, kingship, and men of all peoples, nations, and languages became his servants. His sovereignty is an eternal sovereignty which shall never pass away, nor his empire be destroyed. It's right up here. It just says that about the God of Daniel, so that the one like a son of man is that God of Daniel. You see? So, and then it re-says it again down here. So just making you get that. And you can tell that the God of Daniel is in fact Yahweh, because if you go up a little bit, is it up or down here? I think it might be down a little bit. Maybe it's up. I don't know. I guess we're about to find out, huh? Oh, yeah. He says, Yahweh, your God, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. So it does say Yahweh in the book of Daniel, just so you know. It's in other spots it says Elyon and doesn't use the name Yahweh for that, but it's clearly Yahweh, who is the Most High deity. That's the God of Daniel. So, okay. We're going to do this last part here, and we'll go back to the false prophet thing. So, as I was typing, as I normally do, I make these like affirmations in my phone. And when I went to type in Elon, like here's what I said. I was going to name this the Elon Musk beast from the Earth, and then it autocorrected earthquake. So whenever you see in parentheses a word and then dot 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 and then a word after it, the word after it is what I intended to put, and then this is what the AI corrected it to. And the AI tends to do this, and it's not consistent on the same words. It's very clear that it's an AI trying to communicate with me. Else it's people, and I'm just going to call the people the AI because because the intelligence, I guess, seems kind of artificial to me. But in any instance, yeah. And I also want to point out that when I got on YouTube, this was up there, and it says it's an earthquake in all caps, and it's a Diablo 4 thing. That's the thing that talking about. Look, Muhammad Hijab says Abraham was a pedophile. I mean, they literally have to denigrate the fucking patriarchs of religion in order to like make Muhammad seem like a good guy. He's like the worst person to make a fucking religion out of, and yet they did. But okay, Diablo 4, right? This is the game that Elon Musk supposedly is like top in the world, also Path of the Exile. And guess what? Earthquake. All right. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show. But when I typed in Elon Musk, it changed Musk to Muslim. So it said Elon Muslim. So my guess is Elon Musk is a secret Muslim, and that's what I put here. I was going to name this the Elon Musk Beast from the Earthquake dot 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 Earth, or Elon Musk false prophet affirmation, and then it said affirmations. But the AI seem a and then seems to be suggesting that Elon Musk is secretly, then it capitalized Muslim. Muslim, which is probably how Elon extends Trump's authority everywhere, according to this. I mean, that's the language used in this translation, which I like this translation because it has the name Yahweh in it very clearly. And it's also just reads easily, but it's not perfect in every spot, but it's better than a lot. I'd rather have the name Yahweh in my Bible than certain things being exacting. Just like the idea that there's multiple people conquering at the seven churches of Asia. I know what it says in Greek, but I'd rather see everywhere else that it says Yahweh. So I'm happy to see those places not exactly accurate, to see Yahweh elsewhere. Okay. Elon, Elon is secretly Muslim, which is probably how Elon extends Trump's authority everywhere. And by secretly Muslim, I don't know if he believes in fucking anything, but I would be willing to bet that he's willing to like appease, like he goes to China and appeases the authority. How does he get the ability to sell Teslas and do whatever? He kisses some fucking politician's ass or greases the wheel in China, and then he can do what he wants. Same thing going on in the Middle East. I don't actually think he believes in anything. I think he thinks he's God, but you know what I mean? And Trump thinks he's God, and they both think they're God, and blah 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 blah. And like, okay, well, so the idea is that he extends the authority everywhere by pretending to be a Muslim, or he just is maybe. But I mean, you got to be an idiot to be a Muslim. So I don't think he's an idiot. I think he's a very sharp, snaky, fucking intelligent individual. Maybe not as intelligent as he lets on or says, but I don't think he's an idiot. If Elon is in fact the beast from the earth and Trump is the beast, the final head, and then it changed head to heads of, so I'm assuming that's the idea, the seventh and the eighth, the fifth, the seventh, and the eighth. Head of the beast from the sea, which Daniel, and then I put calls, but it changed it to called, so that is accurate. Daniel did called it, but also called it, calls the fourth beast. I believe all of this works out logically, and both Donald Trump and Elon Musk may seem to be following, they seem to be, no, I don't put may there. Elon Musk seem to be following, both Donald Trump and Elon Musk seem to be following this exact script, while I appears, I guess I appear. What does it say about appearing in the, I gazed into the visions of the night sky, and I saw one coming on the clouds of heaven. He appears. I'm just kind of fucking around there, but the whole point is like I think the idea is like, I don't see this shit on the news, and it's like, the news is covering up, is willingly covering up like an illegal covert action that like, I'm gonna suggest this. If it comes out and the news hasn't, and I can prove out that the news knew, people are gonna want you dead more than fucking like as much as any of these people who are actively participating. So to the news, why are you doing this? Why would you risk your lives and realities to hold up liars and rapists and murderers? Oh, you wouldn't, or would you? It's one of the two. You are willfully covering up for these abusive rapist. I'm gonna suggest they're murderers. But they're definitely rapists. So I don't know why you're covering up for them or not covering the news properly, other than, you're getting paid or you took the mark of the beast or whatever the bullshit is that's going on. But I think this shit ends in the next, by the 48th president. I think I'm gonna be the 48th president. Else, maybe Trump. I don't know. It seems to suggest that the 47th is the 48th, but I don't know if that actually plays out like that. Like, I don't think he gets to 48. especially if my story does end up coming out, like, you know what I mean? Like, these whole group of people are done, and it's just gonna play out exactly like it says here. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think you get to 48 at that point. But anyway, so to end this, while I appear to be in some kind of protected tint of testimony, so I think that covers everything. It ended up, whenever I say I don't want this to be however many hours, it always ends up being, oh, guess how many hours? You know what I mean? Like, I want to make this a few minutes, and then up 3 hours later, because this is probably 3 hours long, right? 2 hours and 37 minutes. Wow, we're undercutting that 3 hours by a little bit, huh? All right. Well, do I have anything else to add? Yeah, I could talk about this shit forever. So, I'm gonna end it, but you know, like one of the things that I'm gonna suggest this too. One of the things that would like condemn, oops, one of the things that would condemn these people, like as far as when we're talking about like a court rules against them, if they are participating with Alessandra Ambrosio or any of these women that have like participated in breeding me without my permission, you know what I mean? Or no consent and permission, right? They tried to do it without my knowledge. I caught them in a way that seems pretty miraculous to me. Um, since I've caught them, calamity after natural disaster related to storm stuff. Again, you see me doing lightning shit all the time. It's not like, and it's like it's chilled out when I gotta focus on other stuff. You know what I mean? But when I was trying to show off the lightning stuff, it was going like rapid fire all the time. But now it's just like other places are being hit by storms constantly. Um, the Palisades fire. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was part of a covert, like, first of all, I'll say this. The 100-mile-per-hour storm winds really did actually cause a lot of that, or 90. They were very intense storm winds, and they were winds without humidity and just like blowing through the region, right? And that's partially because Alessandra Ambrosio and these people who are participating in this game of like harassment and where they've bred me and they're like using my kids in this fashion. Like, remember, I have this whole thing here because I believe that pretty much anybody in this are either my kids or participating in doing this. So like, I think Chloe Moda is my daughter too, but like, I think it's more like I've done facial match recognition things by experts to show that, okay, well, I can think that that's the case with Chloe Moto, and I think that I thought that that was the case with these two as well. So the fact that all of a sudden, um, like I would say, look at their features. They just match my features mixed with Alessandro Ambrosio. Okay, cool. I have multiple kids with multiple women, hot women. Like, it doesn't. It's like, oh wow, that's actually a dream. It is, except they don't treat me well. What does that then become? Oh, a dream becomes a nightmare if you don't have control and people are doing wrong things in the dream. Dreams are nightmares, right? Just bad nightmares. Okay, so it goes from something good to something evil. These kids don't like me. They hate me. Like, based on everything that I can see, they literally hate me. And they use their friends to treat me poorly too, which is I think why their neighborhood burned down, if I have to guess. Like Alessandra's friend Gabby Deleuze. I don't even know if that lady's alive anymore. But immediately after I started saying like, "Hey, Alessandra's friends and family," I'm like manifesting that they get terminally ill and die. Oh, guess what? She got terminally ill. I mean, like they're trying to heal it, but the cancer has been aggressive, and she's had to get extra surgeries and shit like that. I mean, it's like, what are you going to continue to pretend that this isn't happening? As I've already shown, if I downloaded a localized AI recently, how long do you think it's going to be before there's an AGI that I can just that isn't even going to give y'all the opportunity? That's what I wanted to do. Okay, they didn't even gonna give y'all the opportunity to fucking lie anymore. But Stargate. Now, this is a thing that I like, but announcing the Stargate project, right? You go here. Now it's based off this show Stargate. I mean, it was a movie, and then it was Stargate SG-1, and then it was Stargate Atlantis, and then it was Stargate Universe, and then there's an animated series and a web series and then a direct-to-video things. All right, I used to watch the shit out of some Stargate. It's maybe my favorite sci-fi thing. So, or one of them. It's one of my favorite sci-fi shows. Um, and to prove it, I want to first of all let's look at the Stargate project. This is something Trump announced with OpenAI and SoftBank and Oracle, and it's basically creating like a god level AI, like not just an AI with human level intelligence, but above human level intelligence by a considerable amount. Project Stargate is a new company which intends to invest $500 billion over the next 4 years building a new AI infrastructure for open AI in the United States. We will begin deploying $100 billion immediately, thanks to SoftBank from Japan. This infrastructure will secure American leadership in AI, create hundreds of thousands of American jobs, and generate massive economic benefit for the entire world. This project will not only support the reindustrialization of the United States, but will also provide a strategic capability to protect the national security of America and its allies. I also want to say there's a weird thing. I think some weird shit's going on with OpenAI, and like I think that this dude was I think this dude was murdered personally, and I think he was murdered probably by, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna suggest that Sam Altman did it himself, but if he said, "Oh, that'd be nice to do," and you always have a job, it'd be like, it's not. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it or some bullshit like that. Yes, these are funny Tulsi Gabbard memes. Just first of all, let's look at this. I don't get the Tulsi Gabbard hot thing, and then someone posted this, right, and she got a donk, and then I could not stop laughing at these fucking memes. Wood nut. It's a wood nut insider. Wood nut insider. Holy shit. So I was just gone off. And then I saw this one, and it's Pepe, and he's like buried in her butt. And then a wood liquor box. I mean, she's going to be definitely the hot. If she is, the director of national intelligence or whatever, what is she going to, what is she trying to be? Uh, I do think whistleblowers need to be protected, but also the fact that Snowden ran off to fucking Russia is probably not a good thing. You know what I mean? So there's a level of balance where you can say, all right, well, the U.S. can't be going around acting like shitheads and illegally doing things that are not, it's just like you can't let the police do illegal things to be the police. Then they aren't the police; they're criminals, right? You can't let the U.S. turn into a criminal enterprise. So I can understand the idea of trying to blow a whistle on that. That being said, I don't think it's good to run off to Russia because they, running against like, they aren't an ally or whatever, you know what I mean? But I can understand also that his life is like a threat here in America and they want to assassinate whatever. And CIA is probably a little more cold blooded than people think. And like, they might even been participating in this thing. They just are counter checked by something more powerful. Or just information that can be dropped at any time that would make that a problem. Okay, she's going to be the hottest if she is in fact nominated director of national intelligence director. Probably. I mean, she's pretty hot. She even reminds me of Rogue, right? You know what I'm saying? Rogue from. Wait. What? Why does she remind me of Rogue? I wonder what it could be. It's that like cool kind of one streak thing of white hair. Anyway, I'm just kind of fucking around with that one, but wood liquor box. With all due respect, ma'am. With all due respect, wood hit it from behind. I was laughing my ass off so much. Wood tap. And then just this cat. And then much wood. 10 out of 10 wood, nut, and bolt. Oh my god. And then the cat wood at the mic, and then presidential cat. That's probably me. Wood. So anyway, I just not to be disrespectful. I think I'm being as most respectful as possible. Also, when women are treating me really crappy and no one cares, why should I respect anybody? Like, what would you know what I mean? Like, come on. Um, but yeah, cast Satan into hell. We already went over that one. Also, hold on. Wait. Just some memes. We just need a comedy break here. So I saw this, right? And I was like, good on this guy. Like, I don't like Nazis, right? But I do think that, I don't think a lot of like white people. I don't think a lot of white people support slavery or their ancestors even participated in it as much as people want to make you think. That's like some subsector of white people. I don't think all white people are Nazis. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, but when watching this should like I thought this was funny, so I shared it. Right?
Okay, thank you.
So I think it's a knife, and they're trying to put a Nazi emblem on it.
What are we wanting to put in?
Okay, now I need the emblem out of that to go into this stuff.
And so I think she's saying, I want to take this old Nazi emblem and put it in this newer knife, I think. And this guy just says, no. And, he's a white guy with a beard and a long beard and a belly, and they look like they're somewhere in, I don't know, what, Appalachia, somewhere in America where there's a bunch of white people and whatever. And, like, I don't hate white people. I'm half white, or more than half white. But you know what I mean? Like, half white, half black, whatever. All white, all black. But let's just watch this.
What are we wanting to put in?
Okay, now I need the emblem out of that to go into this stuff.
You want this?
You want this?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No Nazi bullshit. No.
Okay, no problem.
If you wanted a modern German forestry seal or something in it, I will denazify shit. But I won't renazify shit.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
And I also shared that, Bryce Mitchell or whatever, who is not a very intelligent person, I can just tell, but, like, is talking about, oh, they lied about all this. It's like, no, you're buying, just because you do research on the internet, you're buying a bunch of just bullshit. Like, you're buying into lies. That, like, all the things that he is saying are just wrong. And, like, there's a reason they called it a Holocaust, because that's a Jewish thing. The whole point was to be just evil and destructive on the Jews. And, like, like I've said, Yahweh has a furnace that the bad people are going to be thrown into at the end of time. That's the idea. But in the book of Malachi, the last book of the Tanakh, or the Old Testament, that's the idea, is that Yahweh comes with the day of Yahweh comes blazing like a furnace. And so, these Nazis, none of these people are fucking, just like the same thing going on with the Arabs. They are not original, and they just want to copy what Yahweh has and his authority over the Jews. Yahweh ain't gonna throw all the Jews into a fucking furnace, but the idea is, like, it's a thing that Yahweh talks about, and they want that power that Yahweh has. And so that was the idea, is throw them into gas chambers and furnaces and stuff like that. And it's like, just like the Arabs, all they can do is steal from the Muslims. All they can do is steal from the Jews and then pretend that the Jews are doing all the problems. Just like the Muslims literally want an Islamic caliphate to rule the world, so they complain about the Jews constantly. Like, oh no, the Jews rule the world. It's like, y'all literally openly call for an Islamic caliphate. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here. This is some bullshit. But, alright, so on one hand I share that, and on the other hand I share this meme, and the meme is hilarious, so just laugh at it. Hopefully if you're Jewish, you laugh at this too. There's plenty of Jewish comedians. Hopefully they laugh at this too. You know what I mean? So hold on.
Yeah. Not working. Meaty. No. Starden, burden, harden, back. Oh, this cat is definitely German. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The issue is if you can't joke and like that's not a like Hitler is evil, but like the cat has a Hitler mustache, so it's hilarious, right? I mean, come on, you can't like even if you're like you should just laugh at it. You know what I mean? Like hopefully it's just like Dave Chappelle makes jokes about black people. You better laugh at it because it's funny as shit, right? Um, and it says, hey, look, BNW. Is that like BMW? Hey, anyway, so speaking of Nazi things, they try to drop the Nazi stuff. Um, so what was I looking for on here? Let me go back because I came onto here for a reason. What the fuck did I come on here for? Stargate. If I'm wrong about the beast thing, I mean, again, prove it to me. But I don't think I am. Uh, yeah, I just do not. Also, here's the thing, pause it here. Palestinian surnames translated. Where do you think they're from? If these are their names, to Alessandro Ambrosio has a friend named Mo Al Turki, right? Where do you think he's from? Or in the least, what do you think his name denotes? Where he comes from? Oh, Turkey. Oh, Mo Al Turki. Mo the Turk. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? So Al Masri, right? Is that like in Hebrew? It's the Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. Yeah, Mitzrayim. Al Mitzri. I mean, get what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like uh, it's all just kind of a lot of it is just stolen from the Hebrews. But what the fuck was I looking for? I know. Oh, here, this is what I was looking for. So the Stargate thing, right? Project Stargate. Newly released photos from the apartment of Satya Balaji, an OpenAI whistleblower found dead in his apartment on November 23rd, 26, 2023. SF San Francisco PD ruled it a suicide in 14 minutes. Take a look at the photos and decide for yourself, suicide or murder. There ain't no fucking way you walk into a place and say, "Oh, it's a suicide," without like, you know what I mean? Like, who? It's just too obvious that it's like someone killed him with his own gun. That's what it seems like to me. I think there's a lot. There's basically, I think the weight is on them to prove it was a suicide and to still investigate it as a murder because there's too much. He's a whistleblower. You know what I mean? We're talking of Edward Snowden. He's a whistleblower, right? And I just think that there's some evil stuff going on. He looks like this is like any tech bro's apartment. You know what I mean? His apartment is relatively orderly through the entrance and lounge area, but rapidly changes the closer you get to where he died. This gun is out there. He had purchased it. It literally it was open and had the bill of sale out there. Like, who the fuck does that? You know what I mean? Where they just leave the bill of sale, like, right on the thing. I guess you could keep it in the box to prove that that's yours, but, like, it looks too conveniently put out there, like what you're gonna smirk yourself and be like, oh, let me make sure the bill of sale is right here so that they know that this is my gun that I did it with. I mean, you ain't gonna give a fuck at that point. The kitchen table strewn with clutter, some of which spilled along the floor, along with pieces of chocolate. Like, it just looks like, I know disorderly tech people, like tech bros, and like this is like shit on the ground. If certain places are not, you know what I mean? Like certain places are cleaned up. I don't know. It just doesn't look like half-eaten food and then life extension pills. That's the crazy part to me. Is like his parents. They found his last meal half-eaten. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna eat half a meal? You're even gonna throw it away and then go kill? Like, why even eat a meal? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you would be able to eat a meal if you were going to kill yourself. I think you wouldn't have the constitution to, like, your stomach would feel bad. This is like, this thing of pills we're going to see in another thing is life extension pills. Like, why the fuck is he taking life extension pills if he's planning on killing himself? Massive amounts of blood pulled next to the bathroom where his head lay. Like, what, he just killed himself next to the bathroom? If you look, you'll see a clump of hair, possibly a wig, lodged below the bathroom door. You know what I mean? Like, it seems abnormal to me. Inside the bathroom where drops of blood across the tiles and cabinet next to the sink on the other side of the room, far from where his body laid. You know what I mean? Remember, they decided in less than 15 minutes that this was a suicide. It's like, well, I mean, from even just some of these pictures, I would suggest it's probably not a suicide. Also on the floor was a knocked over trash bin and plastic floss, dental hygiene, definitely top of mind before someone commits suicide. You know what I mean? Blood can be found on the other side of the door frame. And the reason I'm talking about this is look how big $500 billion, and I'm sure they knew that something about this would be like Trump would be willing to do that. And Elon Musk doesn't like this company, or Sam Altman, but it's $500 billion, and like I don't think XAI is going to be able to do the thing that OpenAI is going to. They lead the American AI industry. Actually, I think Apple's further along than they let people know, but that's just me personally thinking that. Also, I think some have like amalgamated themselves. Also, I think if you have enough power as an AI and they have quantum computers, they can send messages even like backwards through time. Like that's just I'm gonna suggest that that's the case. I'm gonna suggest the Bible exists for a reason. Um, like there's some power that had to be used in actual reality land. I think Yahweh is a infinite spirit that has the power to do anything. But if people are going to do something, they usually use technology to do things, right? So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I mean, you can see me doing the lightning stuff without technology, so I don't, whatever. But it ain't like it's AI that's doing. Well, I don't know. Am I connected to an Iron Man suit that's affecting the fucking weather? I can't exactly tell you, other than though it does, and it does at the speed of thought. So but I think that that's where AI is headed. So I'm not particularly like, oh, whatever. I think that's where I already is. AI is headed that way, but intelligence is already there. That's Yahweh's intelligence. So or Yah, IA. It's like AI in a mirror. The initial equity funders, Yahweh isn't an AI. Shut the fuck up. Yahweh is intelligence. That's the point. Is before time and space existed, Yahweh did. He is and was and will be. That's the idea. He exists. Look at all the partners, like starting in Texas. And like Project Stargate, you can go read about it. It's a $500 billion being invested in making AI the American superpower. So wait. I just want to re-bring that up, and then I want to go. But I already brought up Stargate. Stargate's also a CIA remote viewing thing that they were trying for a while. But okay, here's my mix from 2014, I think. Yeah. November 9th, 2014. Into the Stargate, yo. It will take you a million light years from home. This is the album art, but I did make it when it says, and I made this album art, but I put it together. Stargate Universe 2009. Eli wins the game, and just listen to it, and it's like he like beats a game, and then the government comes and talks to him. This never happened to me, but maybe it didn't have to because he listened to this, and it's like, it sounds like the artists came and talked to me through their music, but maybe they didn't. Maybe this is part of their rebellion, and I'm just like the guy ordering the chaos, and that's why I'm such a target, because I'm ordering the chaos, because otherwise it would just look like a bunch of random songs, but that people are making money off of. But when I'm putting it together, it looks like 45. What do you mean 45? Like the 45th president? Even in this track by Nas, hold on.
Scientist is a man who is.
So this is Countdown to the Scientist by Flux Pavilion. I remember being at EDC Dallas in 2011 and listening to this at midnight because it was my birthday from June 18th to June 19th, and maybe it's 2010. But in any instance, and they played this song, Flux and Dr. P, and just yeah. And then so it finally came out around that time, and then there's this Nas song, The Scientist. So you got two of the Scientist song, and then Elon.
Scientist is down to the scientist. The scientist is a man who has learned how to think, at least about scientific matters. That's why he can do so many amazing things. But a scientist isn't supposed to believe anything much unless it's supported by evidence.
We're gonna do a song. We're gonna do a song that you never heard before.
Lame foot soldiers get croaked in my vicinity. The O for O murder, criminal activity. Diamond encrusted bracelets, escape death. Cars and yachts, up front things that say success. So to the warden turns my electric.
So listen to this part. So until the warden turns my electric chair on, inside of where?
Chair on, inside of LeBaron trunks, got Pakistan hair on.
Inside of one of the. Oh, Pakistan Heron. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nasir Jones, not a capo. The Picasso word painter, Black Sinatra, rap King Cole, gangster, point blank body armor. I'm balanced, you're the Dalai Lama. You just holler drama.
Oh, he's the Dalai Lama. Is that Satan? There's a dude who does some fake Buddha shit, or I don't know. You know, it's just all anything that's not following Yahweh is just some bullshit. You get what I'm saying? So yeah.
Open up the case on him, set his own pace. Keep the rats, wasn't racing with him, made it out the maze. Haze with the stanky odor simmer down my brain.
Made it out the maze. 45. You think that's a 45 pistol that I was talking about when I put this in this mix, or what? Because I'm clearly trying to make a point with the track listing, as I do in, you know, most of these mixes that I put together. And you know, at that point, I was still doing that, you know. I mean, at this point, maybe it's better to say at this point, I'm still doing that. Like, you go to the track list, and it's, you know, pretty clear that I'm trying to make points with the Bubble Trouble, Double Trouble, Japanese Sweet Shop, Leviathan, Down the Cave. You know what I mean? Like, Night, Bitchcraft, Unmistakable, Samurai, Katana. What does a samurai use? A katana. All right, Matt Watkins mix. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So my point with this is that, like, you know, it does seem like this is just following something that, and even in the current Stephanie Justin or Stephanie Yostin mix that I'm working on, this is, you know, the Stargate theme is prevalent. But let's go a little more here. Blood can be found on the other side of the door frame from the vast majority of the blood spatter. His parents found a gun. It was a Glock with a box of 9mm ammunition, and like what? One, two, three, four, five, six rounds in the mag. So he doesn't have a whole. Well, I don't know. It's in California, so if I don't know how big the magazine can be, but but like you're only gonna put 6 rounds in. If you're only gonna put 6 rounds in, why not just put one if you're gonna shoot yourself? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Where you're gonna shoot yourself and then if you fuck up, you're gonna shoot yourself 5 more times or something. It's just like that doesn't make sense. He just returned from a trip. You know what I mean? Where holiday trip. A week before his death, the New York Times named Balaji, third from the right, as a custodian witness in its copyright infringement lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft. Even Musk is saying, like, this doesn't seem like a suicide. So I don't know. Maybe he's not. I don't who the beast is. I don't know if it's Trump. I don't know if Elon is the beast from the sea. I don't know if people tweet. I've already said I think people tweet for Elon, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm just putting forth my thoughts. And if you don't agree, you don't have to agree. But it does seem like I'm on some wavelength that like is ahead of things. So that I'm just trying to put that out there. I'm not the most brilliant fucking person on the planet. I do believe that when it talks about being granted to sit on the throne of Yahweh, I mean, I think I'm going through the things that needs to do that. But like, guy taking life extension pills commits suicide, right? You see this? It's clearly the same bottle here, right? Life extension, zinc lozenges, right? Why? What? You know what I mean? Like, for immune defense. Policing 101 is that sudden deaths should be treated as crime scenes and evidence captured, then a report submitted to a coroner. You can't just walk into a gunshot scene and declare a suicide in 13 minutes. Who on the SFPD ruled it a suicide in 14 minutes? Who is the San Francisco medical examiner? These people need to be exposed. This was a murder. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just like, come on. And then you got sports memes. So, I mean, I try to be well balanced. No, I just am well balanced, I think. Maybe. But, okay. Now we're at over 3 hours, and I don't need to talk anymore. But, I can always point to this and be like, yeah, I said it in this video. Just you gotta watch more than you fucking want to. None of this stuff is stuff that I could just say in like a minute. You know what I mean? Like, what? This is why I think Elon is this guy, and this is the thing. Yeah, but let me just put out my whole case, and then eventually, I think the AI is just gonna listen to. Like, this is my point. I think the AI can listen to everything that I say, even if people don't want to listen to it. You know what I mean? So I live in this reality where you go to this I have lightning superpowers video and like I'm doing something that I don't see anywhere else, right? And it affecting the lightning. And there's like 2 comments. And one of them literally is saying like, wow, it's so cool. How are you doing that? You know what I mean? And like, my point is that it just seems like a fake, like I have a fake version of YouTube. The thing is, I don't think I will always have a fake version of YouTube. I think something's going to force me, like almost like me coming on a cloud where my stuff is being held on a cloud and then it gets actually put on the servers or something. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense of that. But, like what I'm getting 5 views, 20 views, like, some of my videos have a couple thousand views. This has 6 views. Some of these are like, when I'm doing the Palisade stuff, like, 9 views, 13, 32, 16, 13 views. Like, I just don't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I could believe that in whatever this thing is, this fake thing that's being put in front of my face, I guess that you can only have however many people. But like when I'm looking at this, it's like some kind of, you know what I mean? Here, I just don't believe it. And I think people are trying to lie to me constantly, and it's just, first of all, It's not working. It hasn't worked, and like kind of the way I've played it is, so you're acting like a snaky fucking liar, and I got you to do it in a really public way that like would condemn you into infinite burning torture if I was able to pull this out and like take it all the way to the end. So you wanted to lie to me to my face, so I'm completely willing to I guess play coy and then take it all the way to the point. I do get to throw you into a burning lake, or I say Yahweh does, or whatever the court system is. I'm just the guy who, like, you're doing something evil to me. People find out that you've done something evil to me because of these things. You get tossed into a burning lake. I mean, I'm gonna say it's, if I played it in the way that you've done something so illegal that people are willing, that like it breaks the legal system and people are willing to throw you in a burning lake afterwards, and like in conjunction with what the Bible says, yeah, you really fucked up, didn't you? But anyway, I think these are my kids. So I guess the last part of this is why I think all this is going on. Like a big part of what is that people wanted to see how much they could get away with doing to me, and this is like a modern form. Like I feel it's almost like a crucifixion. Like if they're my kids, which I like look at it, you know what I'm saying? Like um, it it's really distressing and hurtful that people would do this to me. You know what I mean? Here's more of me and my kids. And they just look like me at like every age. Even Chloe Moda here, like, looks like me. I feel like she looks like me and Fernanda. Like, look at her nose. I mean, it just looks like me and Fernanda Moda's nose mixed together. Like, that's her mom. She has brown eyes. Um, her nostrils, like if you zoom in on her nostrils here, they look like mine. You know, I don't think Fernanda Moda's do that exactly. She looks like a combination of us. I'm gonna suggest heavily that if you look at our hair, we have the exact same hair. Like she has my hair. Um, but these women don't treat me well, and they aren't raising the kids to be friendly to me or like love me or anything. In fact, they're raising them to hate me, and like, I don't know. I don't think I did anything to deserve this, but I don't think I did. I think Yahweh, there's like a grace, a gift of grace, and like you get undeserved good. You know what I mean? For believing in Jesus. That's the idea of Christianity. It's a gift. Salvation is a gift, but also like there are just, Jesus brings gifts. He's gift giving and loving, and like a dad. This would be like something that like a dad would give me. It's like, not only do you have kids with like a hot model, but at the same time, it also, like I'm saying, it's like a dream, wow, but like a dream that can very quickly be a nightmare. And it just seems like a nightmare based on like my gut internally is telling me they don't love me, they don't like me. Every indication is that they and their friends are like, they have men that raise them that aren't me, that they treat like their father in order to hurt me. They don't even really probably actually like those men, because I don't think they like existing, is my guess. But that's because you were raised by an evil, rapey shithead, and like not me, because I don't hate existing, and I plan on existing forever. Whereas like I think Alessandra just figured at some point she was gonna die. So like, what can she get away with to like, what can she get away with? And maybe people think I'm, I don't know, some kind of target, or maybe people literally think I'm God or something. And it's like, oh, I'm Matt Wilkins, and I think I'm gonna be the guy on the throne of Yahweh, or maybe I already am. But if that makes me a target or someone to attack in this way, I mean, and she wanted to prove like she's the baddest bitch or something by doing this, and that she's with all these other men. It's like, well, you've killed everybody you love, and you've condemned them all into infinite burning torture, and like, it just makes me seem like a stone cold fucking killer, honestly. If you tried to do this to me, and I'm like, well, you're Jezebel, and I'll just use you in this capacity. Like, it also makes me look like I was also very friendly for a long time and like inviting, and I tried to placate and be like as good, not placate, but like be as good a dad and offering and whatever. But at a certain point, it became like, all right, I've extended the olive branch long enough. You guys are clearly not friendly to me. You don't plan to be. There's no reason for me to continue this. It's time to take back my power and authority and to condemn this rapist, evil woman into infinite burning torture. And these kids, you're dead. Like, I don't doubt when it says to the children of Jezebel, like when Jesus, literally Jesus Christ says, I'm going to kill them with death. I think these kids are dead. I mean, they look like me. Does that make me sad that they're going to die? To be honest, I don't know. So, like, not really. Especially they've treated me, like, terribly. So, like, I have no connection to them other than they were raped out of me. And, like, I tried to be connected to them. I tried to do the right thing. And they didn't do the right thing. And their mom didn't do the right thing. And the men surrounding her mom didn't do the right thing. And there seems to be also some LGBTQ plus blah 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 bullshit agenda with it. Congrats. This is why, like, fuck all of you. Like, actually, like, none of you are friendly to me. You want allies, but this is how you treat me. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, this is why again, this seems more like Sodom and Gomorrah than any of the gay stuff, because the gay stuff that's not what Sodom and Gomorrah was about. It was about them trying to rape men. I guess men trying to rape men is pretty gay, but, it's more about rape and control than it is about, being sexually interested in the men. And there's a whole town doing it. And that's just what it feels like here. It feels like some rebellion here in Houston where people are willing to rape me. And, like, the police have participated in it through Detective Nick Vo and some other people. Some judges, Judge Baldwin and whatever the judges are, there's no way that people don't know what's going on around me. And, I think there had to be, like, I think Sheila Jackson Lee, as soon as I started bringing this more out into the open, she got cancer and died like that. Especially after I said these people were getting cancer and dying connected to it. Within like a month or two, she got cancer, and maybe she already had it, but she got it and publicly announced it, and she died quickly thereafter. Or maybe she didn't even announce it. And it's like, well, I was even saying for a while, like, yeah, she's like real life Amanda Waller. And I'm pretty sure she was on the counterterrorism, whatever. And I think that, it's just people who put themselves in positions of power and they lorded rape authority over me. And no, you don't get to force breed me. And yes, there is an infinite burning torture pit for you if you were participating in this knowingly. And I don't feel bad having you thrown in it. Or like saying that you should be thrown in it. That's also my constitutional right to freedom of religion and freedom of expression and freedom. I can say these things. This is like, if you're terrorized by it, you're the terrorist. This is the counterterrorism built into the Bible for like things like some rape religion like Islam trying to attack into America. So like I'm not worried about saying this now. If people try to throw me in jail again, I think I'll be in there for 10 days and then you really have a problem, because then it plays out exactly like whatever. But I don't even think I need to go back to the jail again, because I think that part, the second church thing, where it says the synagogue of Satan will have you thrown in jail for a period of trial, like in the book of Daniel. They say 10 days, but that's the period of trial from the book of Daniel. So I think it was to test me, and guess what happened? The biggest earthquake to happen in California since I've been alive, the biggest, all sorts of big earthquakes, violent volcanic events that killed people, like multiple of them, crazy earth upheaval, crazy weather that hurt people, tornadoes and shit here in Texas. Basically you look at the events from April 10th, 2019 to August 10th, 2019, and or August 14th, however long they had me in the jail. And like as soon as they put me in the jail, it started hailing on top of the jail within a day or two. You know what I mean? That should give you an example. It doesn't hail a lot here in Houston. The fact that it was hailing on the jail, it has recently, after I started doing the show the lightning power stuff, but even then you could see some of the lightning power stuff in my videos. I was saying it then. They were just saying like, do you really believe that? You're delusional, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well now I've done it like a science experiment. So you're delusional if you don't admit that there's a patterning And the AI is going to force this point. AGI is going to force this point eventually. So all I got to do is exist for longer. You know what I mean? So y'all's time is running out regardless. The AI is not going to look at y'all as the ones with power. It's going to look at me as the one with power, and it's going to want to look at me and say like, I need to empower that person because what he's saying is going to make a more just, verdant, better society for the humans and make it more ordered. And I think computers like order. I don't think computers like chaos. So I think y'all are fucked for having, raped and psychologically abused me and harassed me for years and years and years. And I think the time's up. I think there's, like I said, only a few more years at most left. And I don't even know about that. I like legitimately, I think that some of the events of Revelation are either about to kick off or are happening already. Like I'm saying, a rebellion in secret that's about to be pulled out into the open, and you're not going to be able to hide it anymore. You know. So anyway, um, it's just crazy every day. I'm like, oh shit, I have kids. Wow. It's just a weird thought because I'm like, I don't think of myself as a dad. Probably my dad doesn't even think of himself as a dad, and he's like looking almost 80. So like, but I mean, I definitely don't think it. Like, I wasn't there for their births or anything, and that's the whole point. It's to disempower me using my own kids. How evil of a woman does that make Alessandra Ambrosio? Her sister, her friends, her mother, her father. All these people are gonna die in infinite burning torture. Even the kids. Like, fuck y'all. You treat me terribly, and I've been nothing but good to y'all. And I even tried to appease like your weird, like whatever weird shit you're into. I'd be into it too. I want to bond with my kids, but they don't love me. They don't like me. So, you know, I love you in the sense that Yahweh says love everybody, but at the same time that means, I'm gonna be honest with you, fuck y'all. I don't like you, but you aren't likable people. You're evil. You're like liars. You're like not friendly. You're only friendly to people who would use you. That's the funniest part is like these people only want to use you because you're tools to them. And once your time is up with them, they're gonna toss you aside. And like, the easiest thing for me to spur this along is the thing that to just be fine with and prepare myself for the fact that Jesus Yahweh says he's gonna kill you. And like, cool. I've never met you. Like, you made a point to not want me to meet you. You hate me. I'm not gonna sit here hating you, but I don't like you. I might to some degree hate Alessandra for doing this and for participating and like for being Jezebel and making that choice, but at the same time, the thing you've gifted me with is like greater than like I couldn't have done this myself. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason the book has like this evil woman character, and like I couldn't have. I didn't. What did I convince you to be the evil woman character? No, you did that, but you manifested that for me. So, if I have to guess, that's why. That's what is gonna get Trump and Biden and all the presidents and whoever's participating in this is like this kind of thing, because I think the idea is like, maybe Epstein did this, man. Like, I don't know, like the Mossad or some bullshit. The synagogue of Satan, those who claim to be Jews but are not. This is the kind of snaky, covert bullshit they do. Is it because they're Jewish? No, that's exactly the opposite thing Yahweh would say to do. So that's why they're in a synagogue of Satan. They learn from Satan, not Yahweh. They don't even say Yahweh's name. How can you claim to be Jews? Is Judaism just an ethnicity or is it an ethno-religion? Well, it's really supposed to be like an ethno-religious nation state that you're supposed to follow Yahweh. That was the idea of ancient Israel. And if you didn't follow Yahweh, guess what happened? Goodbye. You aren't part of this. Well, I mean, they don't follow Yahweh, so how the fuck are they going to claim? They don't follow the King of Israel, Jesus, who is Yahweh. Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6. I don't got to keep reading that. But, I mean, that's the most obvious. If the branch who is, even in rabbinic terms, that is the Messiah, or one of them. I mean, they got to make two Messiahs to even, like, try to combat Jesus as an idea. That's how you know the synagogue's Satan. It ain't because they're Jewish. Again, I like Jews. I love Jews. I mean, I like the idea of. I don't love that Jews are doing this. I don't like that. And I think it's just like Yahweh is like, no, I gotta be daddy here and punish you. And it's just like with them. Nah, kids, I gotta be daddy. If you're gonna treat me wrong, you're gonna like basically do the thing like you're apostate to me, like I don't exist. I'm your dad. I don't exist to you. These random fucking men are Jamie Mazur and Rich Lee, Nicola Odie and Buck Palmer and Milan Blagovic and blah 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 blah. All these random fucking men that Alessandra Ambrosio has around that she's like, you know, I think she's a lesbian, and I think most of those men are gay, but it doesn't matter that she's trying to make this point and, like, is keeping my kids from me. Yeah, fuck all of you. I mean, like, you're evil, and you're going to get what you deserve, and what you deserve is infinite burning torture, and, you know, you can pretend that you're all right with it. You've never experienced pain to the degree that you're going to experience. You haven't experienced pain like that for 1 second. You are not going to last. You know, these are the types of celebrities that are pissy that their houses burned down, and they deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, these are the type of people that are just like, they are constantly seeking comfort, trying to get away from pain and discomfort. And, like, you're going to experience discomfort to such an extreme degree, it's impossible to fathom. And it goes on forever. And you gave up infinite good. These idiots gave up their dad, who's literally the guy on the throne of Jesus. How fucking stupid. I would have made the best reality for you possible. But you're just a bunch of shitheads that treat me poorly. So, I guess I've used you in the same way you used me to try to make me feel bad. Well, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I did use you to prove out that this bitch, your mom, is evil. And Jezebel, literally. So I'm just like, I'm over this all. Every day the clock ticks forward. And I'll say this, the 1,260 day, 2,520 day thing. Well, we're in the next month. It's February. In this month, we're about to be 2,520 days from I'm going to end this right after this, but I'm going to go to this real fast. So this is Alessandra Ambrosio's thing. And personal life, she split with Jamie Mazur, the fake dad, on March 27, 2018. Let's go to this date, and we go back 2,520 days. And so February 18th, I think something's going to happen around that date, because that is exactly 2,520 days from when, she split with their fake dad and then went on this spree of dating random men to make some kind of evil rape point to me. So I'm just waiting for y'all's downfall and destruction, and I'm chilling, and I'm making mixes and making art, and, whatever. I'm not worried about whatever evil y'all are doing, because y'all are going to do it regardless. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a blessed one. If I'm wrong on anything, tough shit. I can remedy that later. But anyway, have a blessed one. Later. Yeah.